Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Ryan here. It's midweek Super League. And it's the business end of the season. We are live. I've heard there's a couple of people struggling to find the link, so I can still see there's quite a few of you watching live. But if you could all just go on, all go on to Twitter right now and post the link that you're seeing. That come watch the Super League live, and we'll get all back to our normal amount of viewers. I hope everyone's well, and I hope everyone is looking forward to listening to the dulcet tones of Mr. Scott Sadler of Bostock. How are you doing, Scott?
Evening, Ryan. I'm good. Are you?
I'm not bad, mate. Not bad. Excited for just 3 rounds to go of the regular season. It's still all to play for.
Yeah, it is, and there's not, to be honest, apart from probably Burn and Dragons, there's not any other meaningless games tonight. Everything's got something on it, so yeah, these are the sort of games that we get involved for, and down to the nitty gritty. It's going to be exciting stuff.
Yeah, it should be good. There's quite a lot of important games tonight. We've also last minute had the addition of one Mr. Mac of Fulchester. How you doing, Macca?
Very well. Peroni is on ice, hoping to nick a result against Hodgie tonight. So the only thing I can say to the watching crowd is, let's get ready to rumble!
Okay. One thing I've got to do, obviously, I've got 13 teams that should update, as mentioned in the chat before. Macca, I actually haven't updated your team as of yet, so I'm going to do that live on screen, but I'm going to be as secretive as I can. Have you sent an Excel file, or is it something in the chat, or do I need to download something?
What, team-wise?
Yeah.
Apologies. So for everybody watching, I've only been able to message the chairman admin with the singular change. And as I put on Twitter to Hodgie, I was like, we're basically the same. So quite happy when we do get to my game for us to line up as we did last week, but we'll swap the injured Saviola for Paul Scholes. I think that's all I've said on the chat. And there's any proof and stuff that can be said on that as well. So unfortunately, I've not sent a file, but that is the only change we'll make.
What's the change, Mark? Just so we're doing this. I can see this. It's
yeah, no worries. So I think I said, because I was pressed for time, we'll line up exactly the same, but I believe Saviola at AMC is injured. So we'll swap him for Paul Scholes, keep the bench the same, keep the rest of the 11 the same, tactics the same, and then crack on. We'll keep it easy in the interest of fairness.
Great news. And a lot of people in the chat loving your Michael Buffett impression. Jens complaining that you almost woke the kids. Evening to Mr. Megahorse, how you doing? Mr. Campbell, absolutely loving it. And Steve Wright, clearly on the beer, which is great to see. Quick look at the results from last week. Obviously, I'm going to touch initially on Bostock Stanley, who have been kind of brewing just below the surface of the playoffs for the last few weeks. In relatively good form and without really a standout performance, then all of a sudden, I know we've only caught it briefly on the catch-up, but we've had that big performance, 6-2 at home to Churchtown. Scott, you must be delighted with that one.
Yeah, obviously delighted. Performance of the season quite comfortably. If you just look at the ratings and you look at the most pleasing thing for me is all my big players performed. Zidane performed, Riquelme, Vieri, Smith, Lizarazu, Maldini, everybody who I wanted to come good at the start of the season, and I've been trying to find a bit of form all the way through the season. It's all just clicked in one game. If that happens for another 2 or 3 weeks, then get ready.
Get ready, yeah. I mean, let's look at your running. Obviously, you've got Astor away tonight, followed by the Devils and the Vikings. Not the easiest of runs in, but I bet you're delighted those last 2 games are at home.
Yeah, we've only lost 1 game at home all season, whereas we've only won a couple away. So our home forms is absolutely paramount to any success that we're going to have, whether it be in the playoffs or not. So yeah, if we get a win tonight, then we're very well placed. If we lose tonight, we still got the opportunity to get 41 points because there's so many teams still involved that people are going to take points off each other. So, even if we don't win tonight, it's not over.
I was kind of doing a little bit of maths pre-show, and I was looking at where everyone in the league is, and you're in the magic spot, Scott, aren't you, of 6th position, 35 points. So if you kind of do the maths of divide by 23 times by 26 and that kind of gets you to 39.5 points. So it looks like 40 points is going to be the kind of safety blanket. I think I'd be very unlucky if any of the teams manage to get to 40 and don't make it. So obviously going to go look at some of the results in a minute. But you kind of looking at that, need a win and 2 draws, a win and a draw, you might be okay.
I mean, yeah,
you'll want 2 wins though.
Definitely. Yeah, said this earlier on. Hodgie sort of alluded to on Twitter that he thought 40 was still the number. For me, a win and a draw gets me 39. I don't think that'll be enough. So 2 wins for 41, and we'll be there. So that's the target, 2 wins out of 3. I mean, if we don't win tonight, that puts a little bit more pressure on. But if we do win tonight, then we've got a little bit of a cushion.
On that basis, looking at the teams below the line, you're looking at Haggis Hunters thinking they need to win their final 3. Gazelles probably need 2 wins and a draw. Hools probably need 2 wins as well. Maka, you're just 1 win away. So is Hodgie. That's obviously a big game later on tonight. You've not been in the most exhilarating of form, Maka, but just a little bit of return to the home form normality. A 2-0 victory at home to, I'd say, a resurgent Northern Burn is actually quite a decent result.
Yeah, very much so. I think if you look at the form table as well, but I've only lost 1 of my last 5. I think I've had a couple of score draws, 1 of which might have been away, or 2 of which might have been away. So I've lost 1 of my last 5. That's not too bad, I think. Like you're saying, it's bad form, but considering in terms of getting enough points or stopping the rot of just losing away comfortably, I've done that. Oh, you think you're jumping trend? Yeah. I don't know if you average that. If you average that out, I think like 4th or 5th is probably about right anyway. So,
yeah.
To be honest, like, I know I'm nowhere near the best team in the league, so I'm quite comfortable where we are in terms of progression. However, tonight's a bit of a write-off, to be honest. I mean, Leddersford are in such good form. I can't see me getting a result at all. And I do think there is some sort of poetic justice to me playing Alf last game of the season. All the Myth Cup shit, the banter back and forth, the £10 bet we had. I think it would just be absolutely, you couldn't write it if Alf beats me and I drop out of the top 6 on goal difference or something mythical like that in a sense. So even though I'm on 37, I don't think it's done and dusted. I still think I need 2 wins, to be honest.
Who do you play in between Alf and tonight?
I'm not sure. Churchtown at home. All right, so I'm at home. So I backed myself to get 3 points there because my home record's just insane. But I think if I went loss, win, loss, I might just sneak over the line.
I think on paper you've probably got one of the most favourable run-ins. Obviously, before I'd say the last couple of, the in-game month, the last month in-game, Leddersford were probably comfortably sitting outside the playoffs. They've been on an absolutely extraordinary run, but you take that from say 5 weeks ago, and you'd have been facing 3 teams in the bottom 5. So that's the way to look at that run in a little bit. A couple of other games I just wanted to touch on before we move on to tonight's fixtures. Going to you, Scott, first, and your mate up north of the border, Haggis Hunters. He's on a bit of a run at the minute. Let's have a quick look at how they're getting on. They've only lost they've not lost in 4, won the last 2. They were in decent form-ish before that. At the top of the form table at the minute, or they're near the top there, Haggis, or not near the top, but they're up there. They had a good solid win against Spartak Sloths, and it scratches me of the 2 teams potentially going in opposite directions.
Look, the result the 4-1 result didn't reflect the way the game went, as you can see from the numbers there. But credit to Ian for the form that he's got in, and he's been tinkering a fair bit throughout the season. He's had a few injuries. He's got a good squad, not just a good 11. He's got a good squad. I still think he's just lacking that little bit of firepower, which is why he's only in with an outside chance. But fantastic result, and Rob will have been devastated, and now he'll be really concerned as well.
Yeah, because he was nailed onto the playoffs a few weeks ago. I still think he's in the driving seat with the Sloths there. Obviously, got 3 games to go away at Dudley Hill, home to Northern Burn. They'd be looking at that, and potentially these next 2 games is just get it nailed down, get it over with, forget about it. But you won't want to go last day of the season away to Leathersford and have to
No,
in there. That's
I
not
was just
something
going to say that. I was just going to say that he won't want to have to go and get anything last game of the season. He'll be banking on getting the points in the bag over the next 2 games. And if he depending on which Dudley will turn up tonight, that can be a tough task.
Yeah. Maka, just coming to you, the last game I wanted to touch on before we look at tonight's fixtures. Maybe a little bit clouded by the early standing off of Ambrosini and the resulting penalty, but Hools maybe not as. I mean, they've had a few injuries, maybe not as impactful as they have been in previous weeks, and Leathersford hitting form at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, I can't speculate on what Hodge's done, but he's got his team absolutely playing. I think Jens at Hools has told his team to calm the fuck down so much that they've actually just down tools for the season. They're already on the beach, as the cliche goes. The Hools are clearly missing Undayi. They're clearly missing a couple of other players. Mithy Ferenko's not doing anything. I think he's tweaked a little bit as well over the past few weeks. Hodge's gone tried and trusted. He's sticking with his players that are in form. And I think, I can't remember who it was actually, but they said, forms and run-ins are everything in this league, sort of from about game 17, 18 onwards. And I don't think Hodge's changed much, home or away, at all. He's been on a winning run. He's done well with it. Whereas Jens has tinkered a little bit, got a bit despondent. So, is it injuries and whatever else? Yeah, but Jens has still got a class squad. He should still be doing all right. I just think Hodge's, lit the blue touch paper with his team, got something that works irrespective of ground, and just ran with it. So fair play to him.
Mm-hmm. Looking at tonight and also picking up, as Alf suggested there, that there's this being the top 2 in this league is also a big part of it. And there's a lot of chat, obviously, that involves more teams about the top 6, but nailing down the top 2 spot is something which everyone should be aiming to do. Locomotive Boston are in the driving seat for that, having a bit of a good run at the minute, and they've got a task away at Haggis tonight, which could be interesting. I'm looking forward to that one. Obviously, one of the marquee games of the evening, Leathersford versus Fulchester, 2 teams which in the playoff space is expecting to, both I think at this point would be expecting to qualify. The Devils have been asking for that P next to the name for the last 6 or maybe it doesn't feels like 6 or 7 weeks, probably only 3 or 4, since they got to the 40-point mark anyway. Gazelles unlucky 0-0, even with a man sent off last week, and I think they'll fancy us a little bit. It's just potential on the card for an upset. They've got the dead rubber, Northern Verne versus Dragons. I feel like I'm just reading all the names of the games out now.
I was going to say, Brian, can I just throw something out there, right? So Fifey's under, I don't know, Fifey's tried rotating, tried doing this, that, and the other. Obviously, his form, there's dips and gone up and down, this, that, and the other. He got to 40 points quite quickly. I need to ask, is he doing this on purpose? Is he struggling to cope with the pressure, so he's trying to bomb out the playoffs as soon as possible? What's the crack here?
I commented that when he rested most of his team against Hodge, that he was a little naive, and because in one hand he was saying that he didn't think he was safe, and he still needed more points, and then he threw his reserves out, but then he just he got a little bit defensive about that comment. When that was just my opinion. For me, you get the points on the board as quickly as possible. If you've got a queue next in there with 2 games to go before the playoffs, then fine, rest your players. But for me, put your best 11 out.
Yeah, Scott, Scott, I'm with you on that one. You think the amount of games everyone's played on home saves or this, that, and the other, where you're flogging Tsigalko fucking 56 games a season to reach 100 goals or whatever random wibwob shit people do, right? Players are capable of playing 40, 50 games, especially if you're in top flights and in European Cups and whatever else. So 26 games in a Toy Town league, in Asia Pacific. Are they really going to get burnt out? Especially when, the chairman are doing a great job of playing our reserves in cups and whatnot. No, you're playing 30-odd games max, right, throughout this entire season, even if you win the damn thing. That's less than a Premier League season, which, let's be honest, if you were, Man United or Arsenal or whatever, you'd be playing your best team 30-odd games a season. So, to your point, totally agree with it. Play your best team.
And on that, the in-game fixtures as a rule, apart from maybe 2 or 3 times throughout the season, it's only once every week. So when we get the packs to pick our squads, everybody is just about 100% fit. It's not like you're struggling to pick a team on 85, 90% fitness, because there's only a week. There's a week in between nearly every game.
And
yeah, they're either injured or fit. End of.
For me,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Sorry, on the kind of point which you're kind of making there. If you look at the kind of the start of the season, I kind of highlighted a second ago. Devils were kind of up and down. I mean, they're down in 11th, with a few points on the board, so you can understand people being a bit more erratic in where they're positioned and the thing. But they was conceding a lot of goals, right? They got 3-3, 2, 1-3, and then they kind of tightened things up, got a lot better going forward, relatively tight apart from the odd game there against Dudley Hill throughout the season. Then starting with that Sloths game and then continuing with Wethersfield, it just seems that defence has got a little bit leakier recently, 10 goals in the last 4 games. And that's not the kind of thing you want from the defence, going into this crucial period as well. So, I mean, he'll be hoping that Montero and Wes Brown, or wherever he goes, to kind of turn back up soon. Right. Conscious that we could.
Sorry, just one quick thing on that. The top 2 is so important that am I right in saying it's never been won from a side outside the top 2? You would be doing all you can to make sure you finish in the top 2 as quickly as possible, surely.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, 100%. Right, I am conscious of time. It's now 20 minutes into the show, and we've just been waffling on about X, Y, and Z. There's an obvious round of place to start, and I hope the guys don't take any offence, but 12th versus 14th, Northern Burn versus Dragons, does seem like an easy, and I mean, the place to go to get us warmed up. So that's what we're going to do.
Is it piss break already? I'm getting a beer then.
If you want to do that, then fair enough. Quick look at Northern Burn, then. Mac, are you still there? No, he's not. So, Scott, I'll go to you first on Northern Burn.
No, well, I was, yeah. I just need to get off mute, mate. I'd literally stepped two steps away. Or do you want Scott to do the analysis?
Wait, I was thinking, if you talk through Northern Burn, Mac, then I can.
Yeah, all right.
Then you can go for your break.
Northern Burn, all right, yeah. Ian's done. Ian got them ticking a little bit, and as much I think to my chagrin last season, I was mourning about Robin at AMC because he's never played Robin. Sorry, Robin's never been in AMC in his life. But for me, there's a nice balance to this squad. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Udeze. Did brilliant for me last year. Midfield for me, probably a little bit defensive with Van Bommel, Gerard, and Davis. I'd like to see. Well, I'm looking at his bench. There's nobody you'd bring on, is there? So I don't know what his injury status is. Wing backs, obviously, he can't fault his wing backs. Oh, hang on, let's have a look. Go back.
No injuries, Mac. No injuries, mate.
No injuries. What's he got there though? He's a bit weak, isn't he? I can't see anything.
He's got a lot of really solid defensive midfielders. Gattuso there as well. I think he's got Milan Petkov.
Yeah, do you know what? I feel like he's lacking creativity there then, to a degree. So I can see why he's playing Robin AMC, Henri and Kesman up top. Do you know what then? Considering that, because I didn't actually know Ian's squad, sort of retract my slightly negative comments there. And I think for the past few weeks, he's been on a great run of form. Probably got a silk purse out of a sow's ear because, again, yeah, looking at his squad, he's not blessed with attacking talent, is he?
It's definitely somewhere he'll be looking at the start of next season. Obviously, I think he's relatively happy with his squad. I think it's a good squad, but yeah, I understand the creativity point, and it may be something that he would look to improve going forward. Right, Macca, you're on break, and myself and Scott will talk about the Dragons, who last time out had a bit of a humdinger against the Dudley Hill boys and managed to come out 4-3 winners, 4 different goal scorers. Last time they played this fixture, they won 4-0, including a red card for Salvo Valesta. I don't know what happened to Northern Burn that night. Which Dragon Destroyers are going to turn up tonight, Scott?
That's the $1 million question, Ryan. I think they've stuck pretty much with this 4-1-3-2 for some time now. I think I like the balance of their 3 midfielders, and the CDM it feels a lot better. Seedorf, D'Alessandro, Boyer, all 3 great players. Zealous has probably been the best player. Batistuta, he could score 3 tonight. He could get a 5. Who knows what Batistuta was going to turn up. The defence is well balanced. I think just personal preference for a little bit of creativity. I'd probably move the full-backs to wing-backs. But that, it don't make a massive amount of difference. On paper, it's a really, really good squad. I think you would probably be pleased to see Jonsson in at centre half over side. I think you've mentioned him a couple of times.
Yeah, I think it's an injury enforced change, but I still think it's an improvement. So yeah, I am quite happy to see that. I mean, it's the potential. I know there's a couple of people who go with the four at the back and a couple of DMs there. I think that there's a potential to maybe look at that for Dragons. I think Elias could play alongside. It'd be a really strong defensive lineup, and that is where Dragons have suffered this season. But yeah, it is. I do like Ronnie Johnson being in the team, especially season one.
Yeah, on paper it's an 11 that probably shouldn't be bottom of the league, but form's been shit, morale's been shit, team selection and formation's been inconsistent, which is why they're where they are. I think if you played this for another 10 games, they'd probably start climbing the table.
Well, on that then, away from home at 12th, would you say that tonight's the night they get a victory, mate? Is that you put them favourites? What's your prediction here?
Do you know what? I really like the Northern Burn squad. I like the formation. Mac makes a really good point about the DMCs in midfield. This game is going to be close. I think Burn will nick it by a goal.
Burn will nick it by a goal. Maccleston, Burn will nick it by 2 goals at 3-1. Spartak Sloths.
Yeah, I think it'll be 3-1 because if I was Ian personally, I'd be going direct football and getting it up to Robin Henry and Kesman.
Duggan and Greavesy going for Desmond. Alf going for 3-3. So a lot of people are expecting goals here. Mega Horse, the only person I can see back in the Dragons. So let's kick this first half off, conscious that it's 25 past. And it looks like it's a good start for Northern Burn lads, although I was going to say that a little bit earlier, and Batistuta came into the game pretty good. It looks like both teams are creating things, and Northern Burn have brought the deadlock relatively early. Kesman after 11 minutes. It looks like they are in a little bit of control now. Henry puts the ball in the net for second time, but that is ruled out for offside. And Dragons are creating chances. Archie back, creating free kicks in difficult positions. George Assos involved for Northern Burn. It seems like it's flying. 40 minutes gone. Northern Burn looking to have the best of it. Kesman must score. That's spotted there. Van Bommel putting it wide. And that is half time. And I'm going to suggest that apart from a couple of attempts, Dragons got pretty much taken to the slaughter there. Maybe not as comprehensive as I thought, but 6 shots on goal and 2 on target for Northern Burn versus 3 and 2 for Dragons. Relatively equal, maybe Northern Burn just on top. Nothing too much to talk about down there. Relatively even, a bit more possession for Northern Burn. Let's have a quick look at how the goal went in. And it's Van Bommel heading the ball down for Kesman, who puts it past Lee Boyer and attempts to hit a goal. So it's a good solid goal from Kesman. I think Van Bommel will take the assist. I agree with Mega Horse there. It did look like a lot more than that in the first half. Switching teams then, Scott, do you want to talk us through Northern Burn's first half and what you made of it?
Yeah, I think Ian will be relatively pleased with how the game's gone. They've been pretty much in control other than a couple of chances. Kesman's reached double figures, which he'll be delighted with. I know he's sort of stuck with him all season. Goal disallowed as well. And to be honest, based on the balance of play, I don't think it would have been too unjust if it had been 2-0 at half-time. Yeah, relatively strong first half from Northern Burn.
Yeah, just Ian saying no changes. He's given the opportunity to retract that. I've seen that Sean Davis, potential shin injury there, 87% condition. Probably it's one of those you 50-50 play on with that. But I'm just thinking with him having Gattuso on the bench, it seems like an obvious switch. But he's in charge. Wow, not the best marker from the Dragons.
That just kind of sums up the season, doesn't it? Bang average. I mean, for me, I try and consider myself a bit of a football artiste and whatever else. But I mean, look at that passes total. Never mind the completed. Look at the passes total for Dragons. Sorry, that is an absolute disgrace. That is an absolute disgrace. What fucking passing tactics have the Hydra management team got on there? That is disgusting. I'm sorry. Do you know what? No further comment.
No further. I don't think there's too much to add on that front for Dragons. It's not been the best first half. I'm just looking to see if Duggan or Wooder or anyone would like to make a substitution. Wooder's call, my phone's upstairs, so I'm not too sure what's in the Dragons chat. So
However, I am interested in saying off, just saying.
So it's like slag them off, but keep them sweet, Macca. I get that completely. Oliver Kahn seems to be doing a little bit better tonight, getting up to 7. He's kind of dragging the team forward. Archie back and Batistuta on 7s. Apart from that, it's been a bit of a dismal 6.
Why has Oliver Kahn had 3 tackles?
Oh, it's an interesting one with keepers. It seems to happen quite a lot. I can see there's one there.
No changes for Dragons, as is.
Let's kick off the second half because Wooder is happy with no subs. I'm a little bit surprised by that. Thought we might see some Paul Vospel or Marius Nikolai, but we kick off the second half and Matthias Kesman makes it 11 for the season. And it looks like Northern Burn continuing where they left off in the first half, being the stronger side. I think D'Alessandro and back getting involved. I think D'Alessandro will be a different player next season. Henri involved as a lot though for Northern Burn with 20 minutes to go. Batistuta curving shot wide hits the post. D'Alessandro and Ronnie Johnson I saw creating an opportunity then for Dragons. Looks like they are creating a couple of things. But 2-0 down with 5 minutes to go. Looks like it's pretty much all over. Batistuta hits the post, and that is it. So it looks like Dragons been a little bit more wasteful in the second half, but still, overall, you've got to say that Northern Burn probably deserved their 2-0 or 2-0 victory. Get a breath there. Yeah, relatively even on the match stats. A quick look at that second goal. And it's Georgiasos this time had a really good first half, jinking past Elias and putting it close to the far post with Kesman there again. And Maka this time on Northern Burn. Solid home performance. Yeah, Ian will be really happy with that.
Yep, really, really good. I mean, look at his tackle count. Gerard, fantastic. Sean Davis, fantastic. Even Walter Samuel getting in on the act as bossing it. So I think, yeah, really good result for Ian. Looks like he's got something clicking. Well, yeah, surprised me. I mean, the number of key passes isn't fantastic. It obviously builds from the back, but it works. So fair play to him. Fantastic home form, great result.
Yeah,
Nothing else to be added.
Ian will be all about building for next season now, and it's good that he's getting a bit of form together. Obviously, an absolute legend in the league, and it's nice to see him getting some results finally after such a torrid start, and obviously not the best form last season. Dragons got, and it's just the same old story, isn't it? Oliver Kahn, they're getting beat 2-0, and Oliver Kahn's the best player.
Yeah. Zay Elias again has tried his best in there, but in there on his own, with 3 attacking players in front of him, probably not doing a great deal defensively. Just been overrun by the Burn midfield. They didn't create a massive amount, but they've not taken any of their chances. Batistuta has not turned up again. This, like Max said at half time, it just sort of sums up the season. The defensive players, well, Khan and Zauri have been the best 2 players, and it was pretty much one-way traffic.
Mr. Campbell I completely agree with that, Scott, by the way. Mr. Campbell's asking, is anyone else's buffering or is just shitty internet? I'm just, yeah, I mean, I'm getting nothing from my end about poor internet, so if anyone else is having complaints, let me know and I can maybe try and sort something out. I don't know what I do, to be honest, so don't even bother telling me if it is being crap. Let's continue the game. Wooder saying, come at me with some Batistuta slander. Interesting. I know there's talk in the Dragons camp about is Batistuta for sale or anyway, Saturday the 16th of March. Where should we go for game 2? I mean, looking at
I think we go to Ireland.
Do you? Yeah, because I mean, the Hools win puts the pressure on the boys in the top 6, which could be interesting. Churchtown, agreeably, not really got too much to play for at this moment in time. It's probably a good place to go. We'll start with you, Scott, this time. Slightly different formation. Is it? No, I think it might be the same formation, but a couple of different players for Kieran. Zanetti and Cole is best players, but not enough with the spine for the team.
No, Tom Madeira was left out last time out against us. Edilson played up front. They've just been so inconsistent. They put a little run together mid-season when they look like they might put a fight together, and then they just sort of dipped off. I don't think they've got enough out of Almar. I think Mendes de Silva's a really, really good player for season 2, 3 and beyond, but maybe a little bit early. Viale, I don't know how much he's played. Okoronkwo has probably been the best player for this season.
Yeah, but not in the best of form, really. 3 sixes in his last 5.
Yeah, he was averaging above 8 if you probably go back 5 or 6 weeks. So Madeira again has probably scored 1 or 2 goals in the last 10 maybe. So yeah, they've not been able to put a run together to pull themselves into it, unfortunately, for Kieran.
It'd be interesting to see what Kieran does. If even when the transfer window opens, he's not done anything this season, but that was kind of one that was missed from pre-season from Anna Rickson. So they've actually made 0 transfers in the season. Obviously, it'd be interesting if he goes into the market next year. Obviously, he's been one to kind of stay away from it a little bit in the past, but I think there's maybe a bit of need for reinforcements there in a couple of positions. Maka, your good friend Jens over in Norway has been suffering from injuries. Ndai was the casualty for a few weeks. He's back tonight, which will keep Jens happy. However, suspensions to Ambrosini and Cordoba and an injury in training, I believe, for Sol Campbell, who's been key for them all season, doesn't make good reading. Similar lineup to Churchtown should make for a good game, shouldn't it?
Yeah, it should be. You can see Jens has kind of moved from that 4-1-3-2 to a more aggressive attacking wing back player. Liverani at DML over Ian Hart, not sure about. The injuries, as you've rightly pointed out, will take a toll. So Campbell's a big loss. Gerard, I don't know why he's playing him in midfield. Should not be anywhere near that team. Gerard is absolute fucking garbage. Shouldn't be there. He was a disgrace at Panathinaikos. He's bang. Look at them stats. He's bang average. He's bang average. Why is he there? Sorry,
not a Super League player.
No, absolutely not. He's not a Super League player. Although, funny fact, me and Jens often get mistaken for brothers when we're out strutting around Oslo. For me, this is, right. So genuinely looking at this team, Nikiforenko is a little bit greedy, right? Whenever people have signed him on home saves, tends to try and dominate the ball, gets a lot of goals and assists. But is he going to get that many assists when you've got absolute cold eye assassins like Nisaroi and Tsigalko? As much as that might be an oxymoron, bear with me. Nisaroi and Tsigalko, we're hovering around the box. They're not guys for through balls and whatever else, right? So depending on Nikiforenko's stats, which to be honest, I've never really used him because I've always had the myth thing. I'm not sure what he can do. Semak's all right. I don't think he's elite or anything like that. So personally, I look at Jens's midfield there, the sort of DMC3 and the MC3, and I just think there's nothing to be afraid of. I know he's not a fan of Beckham. I'd play Beckham. Kallstrom, weak. Petit, probably a bit of a menace. Ambrosini, a bit of a menace. But suspended. I don't know. It's a tough one. He's making the best of a bad bunch with his injuries and whatever else. But I kind of look at his squad and think, do you know what? He probably needs somebody like a Donati or a Sador from Dragons in exchange for somebody else that would appease Dragons. Do you know what I mean? Like there's probably a trade to be done there that would benefit both teams. But so for me, this is probably Churchtown 2-1.
Interesting. So Churchtown 2-1. Maka maybe trying to give himself a bit of a breathing room in the playoffs there. Scott, what are you thinking about this one?
Yeah, my heart says Churchtown as well, but that pumping last time out didn't do them any favours. I think it'll be a draw. I don't like to sit on the fence, but I just don't. Neither side are in great form. I don't see it being a goal fest. 1-1.
1-1. Any predictions in the chat would be good. Apologies, my dog barking downstairs. Mac is confessing his love to Jens. We've got confirmation that we've got Swindon Devils versus Gazelles on next. Mr. Megahorse also going 1-1. Scott. Mr. Edwards going for a home win.
Two big games next up. Then the two sides that are just outside the playoff both with away fixtures.
Yeah. As soon as I said that, then a lot of people were going for a home victory. Then I've got 4 away victories on the trot from Sloths, Devils, Astor, and Dudley. So I'll tell you what, let's kick this off and we can have a little bit more chat about what Hools need to do in the last few games to get there. And what they want is a little bit of
For fuck's sake!
Maka eating a little bit of humble pie there with Gerard getting a goal after 8
A little
minutes.
bit of reverse psychology from Maka to help his
Yeah.
lover out.
We had a missed,
Oh, it's all
we
Hools.
had an offside goal from Tsigalko, but then Van Nistelrooy gets a
Oh,
goal and
bloody hell.
Tsigalko makes it 3. Those boys going for a home win, and looks like the Hools might be trying to disappoint you. Churchtown not turning up again. 44 minutes gone, blasting over. Yeah, Jens will be jumping around the fjords tonight.
Chasing a deer through the forest.
Well,
Something
you're
like
saying chasing a deer. I'm trying to catch all the pigeons that cat's just been put amongst.
that.
Absolutely. What a first half performance.
Yes, and it's clinical as well. The two strikers, Mac alluded to pre-game, Van Nistelrooy and Tsigalko, and the surprise package in Gerard, scoring 4 of the 3 shots. Semak getting the ball near post with Gerard heading home, maybe an unlikely duo there combining. Semak again getting involved and putting it to Van Nistelrooy, who puts in the second one, and Liverani corner and Tsigalko heading home. Really solid first half. And Scott, let's come to you to talk about the leaders at the moment. I mean, Jens won't change much here. He's going to be buzzing with that, isn't he?
Yeah, I think the 2 key players in there, you've got Ndai, who is just breaking up play every time Churchtown get the ball. He's winning his tackles. He's laying it forward. And Sergey Semak's getting on the ball. He's making things happen. He's creating chances. And yeah, Churchtown have not lived with them. They've been clinical. When you've got Tsigalko and Van Nistelrooy and they're firing, you're gonna create chances. Going back to what Max said about Nikiforenko, it looks like Sergey Semak's realised that Nikiforenko's a greedy bastard, hasn't passed him the ball, and has took it upon himself to create all the chances.
Yeah, it's and looking at what Alpha's suggested here. Sorry, I was talking about Hools at the minute. Yeah, he only got accredited with one of those assists. The one I think was a throw-in, which Van Nistelrooy picked up. So probably why he only got accredited with one. But it's a really solid all-round performance. Before I can just click on Churchtown, I was thinking what Alf said there, and I'm a similar thing. He went on. He was terrible this first part of the season. He went on that huge run. I think it was 6-7 games. Kind of brought him into it. And now it's just absolutely gone wrong, and it's gone wrong generally at the same time he won the Oceania Cup, Maka. But this first half performance doesn't make pretty reading at all.
No, not really. It's like the Oceania Cup. You know, some of them players have peaked. They've already thought they've achieved everything in life. It's quite disappointing, to be honest. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm a bit upset with Kieran's squad because I mean, I look at it and most of them were Andreas Kallin's lightweights in previous transfers, and then his star players like Amar, Madeira, Collins, and Essie. They're just, I don't know, they're not being given a chance to flourish. Like, I don't mean to sound horrible here, but does Kieran actually give a shit anymore?
It's an interesting question. I mean, Kieran loves the league, been around the league for a long time. He's one of the. I mean, he always gets his team in, so I think he's definitely watching. But how often he watches live is an interesting question. And yeah, I think when you're not winning as well, sometimes it affects how much interaction you have inside the league. Obviously, you made a few big calls pre-season, let Edgar Davids go for Ashley Cole, just because he had Davids in the last iteration of the Super League. That's obviously an interesting one.
Do you know what, Ryan? I think you're absolutely. You might have said it on Friday or Saturday night, whichever multiple Zooms we did or whatever. Kieran is obviously very tactically astute, right? And with the right plays, the man's an absolute genius. No getting away from that. Been around the league for years, done well for years. The fact he's kind of taken this year to experiment, I think has arguably, well, not even arguably really, it has hindered him a lot more than he potentially expected. So again, that team on paper, to even be in with a shout at the playoffs and a couple of games to go, he's done a terrific job. Could he have done a lot better job if, I think you've said it before, took it seriously, quote unquote? Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know, what do you do? Where do you go from here?
Well, what we do is we go to the second half. I've just made a little bit of an unprofessional comment in the chat there, but there we are. Blackburn are shy. Let's kick off the second half. I don't think there was any subs Andre St. as is, and Kieran isn't about. So let's kick this off and see what happens. Tomadeira involved earlier on, but no goals, and there are goals at the other end. Tsigalko on the end of a devastating cross. Sorry, mate.
Semak again with another assist, I think. I don't know, Samuel.
Yeah, it looks like Semak's definitely involved in the game. 20 minutes to go.
So honestly, Scott, sometimes it causes me physical pain at how correct I am.
There is a consolation there for Tomadeira, and another one for Ashley Cole on by the penalty.
I tell you what, there's a quiz question. Has Ashley Cole ever missed a penalty? Don't think he has.
Ooh, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if all those goals he scored this season are penalties. Actually, that's his
No,
fourth.
mate, add real life in. I don't think he's ever missed a penalty.
Well, that is something to research. Churchtown basically made an attempt at a comeback, but maybe left it a little bit late.
The game was done. The game was done before they even scored.
Yeah, Tsigalko, it was a Willie Staniol cross, I think, for that goal, devastating cross. It's a fumbling Costanzo giving Madeira the ball back for the first goal, and Okoronkwo, Costanzo, it looks like, fouling.
Costanzo at fault for both goals.
Yeah, Franco is one of those. He's a young goalkeeper, absolutely.
He's a myth. He's a myth.
He's a myth. But Jens will be happy to get back on the right side of things. Slagging off all Hools goal scorers, Jens is saying. It works pretty well. Maka, you can give some praise to those goal scorers then.
Yeah, do you know what? And I think Jens will probably pick up on this. My question was around could they get the ball to them quick enough? But I mean, look at that, Semak, absolutely key man, and key man on commentary as well tonight. Unbelievable pass completion rate. So many one key pass, but he's obviously kept the ball ticking around and whatnot. Again, what I tend to do is look at a lot of these passing strategies and try and work out what the opposition are doing. So whenever I play them, and you just look at that and you think Gerard's actually put a shift in for a change. Tsigalko and Van Nistelrooy deadly, but again, focus on that midfield. Undayi, absolute monster. He's just the absolute wall. Do you know what I mean? If he was guarding Mordor, they'd call it the Black Gate rather than Gates. Unbelievable scenes. And Semak's just pulled the strings completely in midfield. So, yeah, very dominant performance going forward, particularly away from home. Keeper's got a 6 because he's had to do nothing apart from pick the ball out the net twice. Fantastic performance.
And Mega Horse has just said that Ashley Cole missed for England against Italy in 2012 and for LA Galaxy in a shootout defeat in 2016. So that's 2.
That's either fantastic knowledge or quick research.
It's quick research, actually. It can't be that good. I mean, Mega Horse is a very knowledgeable bloke, so I wouldn't want to say definitely it's quick research, but I think that's even. I mean, that's got to be good. The LA Galaxy one is. Do you mean that's bordering on a little bit of well, it's not that. Yeah. Quick research. Yeah, I would say to know the what do you call it, the LA Galaxy shootout miss in 2016 would have been bordering on autism there. So I'm just gonna let's move on quickly and have a quick look at the Churchtown defeat. Scott, Edilson picking up man of the match.
Yeah, real strange one. I mean, he's got 3 key passes and 1 assist, but for considering how dominant Hools were for probably 60 or 70 minutes, it's a strange one. The fullbacks have done okay, as they always do for Churchtown. Tomadeira's got back on the score sheet. Mendes de Silva went from a 6 at half-time to an 8 because he's won a few headers. But yeah, Kieran will be disappointed. I think he knew it was over last week when they got beat last week. They've conceded 10 in 2 games now, which will be a concern.
Sorry,
I think
Jens was
2 centre backs. Who was Kieran playing centre half with Okoronkwo, and are they injured? Because they had a really strong. Is it John Terry?
Yeah, he's suspended.
Really strong.
Yeah,
they both done relatively well.
Right.
But yeah.
Right. until Mac is not on mute, I can hear myself back, and it really freaks me out. So.
No, I am on mute, you cheeky shit. Well, what?
Thanks, Scott, mate. Good analogy there. And Churchtown need a little bit of something more to bring to the party, I think, to get into the playoffs. Solid victory for Hools, really good performance. We've made the decision, somewhat surprisingly, to go to the ever-entertaining Swindon Devils at this point. They are against Gazelles in another match, which one of the chasers of the playoffs. First off, Maka, I'm going to let you go in, or basically all praise Fifey, whatever you choose to do. He's kind of gone back to his solid central playing. He's got Harry Kuehl and Roy Mackay at wing backs. Are they wing backs?
Nope. I've been playing Wes Brown at centre half over Nowotny because Wes Brown's a lot faster, and I think his crucial defending stats are better. Mackay, it worked last week, so I don't want to. Oh, that's surprisingly quick. Nowotny in real life was like a fucking oil tanker. Mackay at right wing back, bit of a surprise, to be honest. Kuehl at left wing back, again, a surprise. Olisadebe, again, forgive my pronunciation. I'd have played Kuehl. To be honest, I'd have rather have found a solution for left wing back, i.e. Van Bronckhorst, than play Kuehl at left wing back and play Olisadebe at AMC. You could have played Ronaldinho left AMC perhaps as well. And Penza, who's gone quiet for a while. I think that's his biggest worry, to be fair. Has Mpenza scored in the last few games? I'm not sure.
He got one against Boston, I want to say, did he? Yeah, he did. Got one against Boston, which was his first one in a while. And then Fifey made the bold claim that he would score in every game between then and the end of the season, and then didn't score against Astor. So, I mean, it was a very bold claim on that kind of part.
But do you know what? Let's call a spade here, right? Fifey's done a terrific job. I'll cut short my commentary because I could waffle all night about it. He's got a decent team. He's got a decent squad, even decent 15, 16. Yeah, fair play to him. He's got 40 odd points. He'll still make the playoffs. I'm not sure what position, but he'll make the playoffs.
Right. Well, Scott, an interesting formation from Gazelles, who are missing two key players in.
Yeah, I just noticed that three key players if you include Figo.
Yeah, Figo's been out for a long time now. I think he's played the first 16 games and he's been missing for the last 9. Looks like he's going to miss maybe up until the final if Gazelles dare to dream. Looking at this lineup, I think we've got a debut, maybe a full Super League ever debut for Paulo Sousa. Not someone I remember the name, but I don't remember him actually as a player. Maybe I watched him a few times on Gazzetta Football Italia. Apart from that, though, it's still a really strong lineup. Obviously, marquee names like Cafu and Raul, and even Rio Ferdinand. So, I mean, it's not one of those where he's putting the David Dunns of the world onto the pitch. He's still got a strong lineup here.
Yeah, he has. No issue with Paulo Sousa coming in. Experienced player, decent stats in the right places. Probably a big game player. Hence, probably why he's in over Medina, just for a little bit of experience. I mean, you look through the rest of his bench, there's nobody else there who's going to get into this 11. I think has he got Lucio still sat on the bench? I think, did he go through a poor run?
Yeah, he's had a bit of
a completely phased out. I mean, that's not terrible. He's averaging over 7. He had a couple of 6s and then a 7, but
I think.
But yeah,
I'll let you continue, Scott. I just think he basically brought Mourinho in, and Mourinho scored a goal, and I think he was relatively solid every game he played. I think he got a couple of clean sheets, and I think he's put Hamadou Carr on the bench because of his versatility, I believe. I think so. If Mourinho has a bad game, I expect to see Lucio come back in. And I completely agree with Megahorse. Hamadou Carr, season 1, not great, but does get a lot better as well.
Yeah, so I think Gazelle's hopes are going to depend on whether that front three can get hold of the ball and create chances. Jardel, I'm intrigued to see how he does on a home side. He can score 40, 50 a season when he's at Lisbon, but I don't think he's played much this season. Raul's done okay. Agahawa's done okay. Clivert's a big miss for them in what is probably one of the toughest fixtures of the calendar when they need to win.
And we kind of said three things. It's basically, I mean, this is kind of the last chance to Loon, really. They need not to lose, I'd say, is the thing. They need 2 wins and a draw, so to get to that 40-point mark. So tonight is a big night for Gazelles. It could be the end of their chase, or it could be a real pressure point for the teams in the top 6. So Pablo Kai getting a squad number, not been involved yet this season.
One thing I did notice, just going back to the permutations that could happen over the next few weeks, is Gazelles have a great goal difference.
Yeah,
which
that a
could
lot down to the Dudley Hill, win, wasn't it? 7-1, and he's had a couple of big wins in there. So yeah, if that does
it doesn't matter after tonight. I think the Gazelles are munched by the Devils tonight in pure Baphomet fashion.
Let's see.
So Mr. Edwards is going Devils play by 2. Dimble's saying 3-1, even Dimble. Mac is saying that the Devils munch the Gazelles tonight. Scott's, what are your thoughts on it?
Home win, yeah. Devils to score 3.
Yeah.
And Penza to get back to the score sheet tonight.
Spartak Sloths commenting on the excellent Gazelles away colours. I do quite like them. Duggan mentioned the interesting battle. It might have been Wood have mentioned it further up. An interesting battle. Basically, it's Cafu and Dede versus Mackay and Kuhl, which is on outside, which could be an interesting battle for the game. Duggan is saying the Dede and Cafu are going to be too much, I think, and he's going for a away win. I think he's the only person there, apart from Jens, going for an away wins. The Devils come loose when it matters, which is an interesting one. So let's kick this off and see how we get on in the first half. Seen Penza's name early on, but it looks like Gazelle's taking a little bit of control. Yardell having an effort early doors. 7 minutes gone. It looks like there's still continuing to be a lot of Gazelles. Raul involved. Cafu, Paulo Souza. I mean, it's a lot of green and white lads, isn't it? Montero doing a bit of defending there, and we didn't see the game last week, or we did late. The Devils versus Gazelles, but they weren't fantastic there. They need a bit of form, but as I said, that and Penza has an effort. Ronaldinho gets more and more involved. They look like they are coming into it a little bit. We get to half time and it's 0-0. Whoa! I thought. Oh, tell me if I'm wrong, gents, but I thought Gazelle had a lot more of that early part of the first half. But both teams finishing relatively level there.
Yeah, I was just going to make a comment that when Gazelles were on top, if they don't take a chance as soon as Penza gets one, he'll stick it away. But then he missed a couple of chances. So relatively even. The Devils creating a few more chances off target. But I think Craig will be delighted that he's still in it at half time.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I can apologise to the Devils fans that I thought Gazelles were a bit more all over than that, but they definitely haven't many efforts on goal. It looks like, yeah, possession wise, it was relatively level as well. I'll quickly look at Fifey's stats first, and it doesn't make too pretty reading, apart from Roy Mackay down that right hand side. Scott.
Sorry, just say that again. Yeah, Mackay.
Well, I'm just saying Devils first half, really, because I know Craig is rarely.
Yeah, I mean,
he's in the chat tonight. Not too sure.
I don't think any of us would have expected Roy Mackay to be the standout. And Penza's had 2 or 3 chances, like I alluded to. But those forward players are just not getting on the ball enough for me. I think if Devils get control of the ball in midfield and can get the ball to Alistair Davey, Ronaldinho and Penza, they will score. But if Gazelles continue to hold strong, they will create a chance or 2 in the second half and they could nick it.
Yeah, looking at that, there's very few games. I thought there might not be any, but I can see 3 or 4 there where Devils haven't failed to score. They didn't score against Leadersford, Churchtown, or Northumberland, so it's not unheard of. Gazelles, Macca, let's have a quick look if Fifey's not making any subs, so a quick look at Gazelles, Macca. What do you think of their first half? And
yeah, do you know what? I know the commentary said or the commentary appeared that they look better than Devils, but I still think Devils were the better side, to be honest. You look again statistically, Paulo Sousa's potentially a walking red card, despite winning 4 tackles out of 4. rest of the team not really up to much. A draw is probably a good result for a lot of other teams, including myself, around the league. One thing I would say is for Devils, I don't think Mpenza's been the same since Greavesy logged his alleged age with USADA. I don't know where that investigation is up to, but, read into that what you will.
Okay. Picking up on Jens saying that a 9 waiting to happen to Cafu, kind of maybe a little bit poised, not the best first half. Ronaldinho to nod one in at Assane. Everyone seemed relatively fit for the Gazelle, so I see no reason I can't kick off the second half. And we start with Raul hitting the crossbar. That was quite early on. Emerson involved though, and Ronaldinho for the Devils. Yellow card again there. Pavel Sosa involved. Zede with a power driver for Gazelles. Van Bronckhorst knocking it inside. Raul coming forward. Tripped Montero.
Do you know what? I don't think 0-0's a bad result here for a lot of teams around the region.
Yeah.
It's better for Devils, I think, than it is for Gazelles. Gazelles need the victory. It looks like they've kind of deserved it here, but 0-0 might be how we're heading. Last chance saloon or no?
That's a good result for the teams in the top 6. Craig will feel hard done to then. He's absolutely dominated that second half. Devils have not created a single chance. They've dominated the ball. They've not created a massive amount of chances themselves, but with Raul up front and Jardel Howard, they'd have thought that they might have nicked one. Craig will be absolutely devastated that they've not got over the line in that, because that was a massive opportunity to put huge pressure on.
Yeah, the Devils not firing at the minute, definitely not at their best, and I can tend to agree with that second half. Gazelles definitely the better team and unlucky. There were no subs in that one. I don't know. I think you mentioned pre-game, Scott, that you probably wouldn't have changed too much. You mean the solid second half performance from Gazelles not really transforming into ratings, is it?
No, I mean, I think those ratings will be based on their lack of creativity, to be honest, because they've won a high percentage of the tackles. They've done okay in the headers. Only 2 key passes from the forward players, but nothing coming from midfield. So they've stopped Devils. They've limited Devils' creativity to next to nothing, especially the second half. But they've just not been able to create enough themselves to get over the line.
Yeah, that's completely. I couldn't say it best myself there. I mean, really solid. Not look like conceding.
Let's just call it out here. Next time Fifey hosts a Friday night show, it needs to be a full hour deep dive on why the Devils have gone shit.
And that's kind of epitomised Maka in tonight's man of the match being Sebastian Frey, the goalkeeper. Must have pulled off a couple of worldies there to get the draw. Actually got better ratings than Gazelles though, Maka.
Right, I get that, Ryan, but put it one way, I'll always throw it back to the Louis van Gaal Man United times where we were unfortunate enough to get tickets for a few games. David De Gea got man of the match then, and they were fucking awful games. So you get the gist. So, like, if you're at home, your keeper should not be getting the man of the match, ever.
Yeah, kind of tend
Fifey, sort it out.
So heed those words, Fifey. Listen to Mr. Maka if you believe it.
On Devils. On Devils, we talked about when they were flying and they looked unbeatable. That they had an incredible 11, but maybe not a massive amount in depth. But they've only got Dyer injured, but that just doesn't feel like the best 11 players. So who was playing frequently in that run? That's not
Gravison.
now. Mackay wasn't playing. So Gravison was in.
I think he had Diaz or something on the right hand side as well. Trying to think. David Batty played the game. Brugink's been in a couple of times, but do you mean I'll be honest with you, it's not too different than what he's been playing. He had Diaz on the left hand side who's injured, and that's why he's got Harry Kewell out there and Elisa Derby in the 11. Sometimes he's been dropping Ferguson into this position here and putting Van Bronckhorst to the left and having 3 in this attacking midfield, including Elisa Derby, because he's played quite a few games, Elisa Derby, really. Roy Mackay.
Personally, Ryan, looking at that squad, I'd probably be inclined to go 1 DM, 2 MCs rather than the other way around. But it's not my team. I mean, Fife, you do whatever you want, mate. You have a think.
Fifey, have a think. Right. Obviously, conscious of who we've got in comms, I think we're probably going to go last couple of games. We'll do Astor and then Fulchester, which leaves us with Dudley Hill versus Spartak up next, if that's okay by everyone. So let's go to Dudley Hill. They conceded a lot of goals. They scored a lot early on the season. Last time they played the Sloths, it ended in a Sloths 1-0 victory. They're well out of it now, you'd suggest, Dudley Hill. Not really in a catching position. Performances have been a little bit better the last couple of weeks, I'd say, even if the results haven't been. Who should we start with? Scott, you mentioned pre-show that you think the Yorkshire cartel is dead. Is Gallardo going to change your mind?
No, I think Crespo's found some form. There's some really, really good players in there, but it's been inconsistent. They've conceded far too many goals. They haven't scored goals when they've needed to score goals, if you know what I mean. So to keep them in games or to get them over the line in games, Gallardo at AMC is not good enough. Dalmat centre midfield by himself, not good enough. Guigu is a solid player who can play anywhere across that back four, but again, he's not a top right wing back. Ronaldo's been in good form and Crespo scoring goals. I guess that's what Steele will be pinning his hopes on for tonight.
Do you know what? For me, Scott, the problem is not the players; it's the formation.
Yeah, there's not a lot of creativity in behind that front two, and the players that are in there are not great either, in my opinion.
He's got two banks in my opinion. He's got David Stamasi, not much better on the game in that position. He's got Ronaldo Crespo, not much better in that game. You do got to look around those other positions. Gallardo, Dalmat, Guigu to an extent. I'm not a huge fan of Kufre season 1. Ayala, I know he's a controversial player, not been performing great this season. He's had Tony Adams in there who's been hit and miss. 5 last time out. And he's kind of rotated a few of these kind of players. And John Estacker's played a couple of games. Alex has played 12 games. We've not seen Damien Mansell, but there's a few other players who've been in and around. Arca played 9 games. So he seems that he's got these really solid players, that he's also got a few questionable players.
I think there's 4 or 5 big names in there. You look at Carlos, David, Tomasi, Crespo, maybe even Ronaldo to some extent because he's got him ticking a little bit this season. The rest of the 11 are squad players, and the players that he's got in reserve are shit.
Right. I've asked Steve for his captain, and he's not really giving me one. So it's going to be Ronaldo. And we're going to move over, and we're going to ask Maka. I've been looking forward to this actually. Maka, are you going to talk about the team of myths? What do you think of David Collins?
Do you know what? If you, please, I'll quite happily not mention anything about my own team later in terms of coverage. If you just give me a 60 seconds, go. Right, Van der Sar, shit on the game, concedes as many goals as games played. Gamara and Desai, wank. Scally, fucking myth. I don't know if people get assists out of him. He doesn't do anything. Zeraberto Salihamidzic, fine, whatever, they're decent. Mild, wrong position, wank. Del Piero, myth, don't do anything. Guerrero, jammy. Totti, yeah. Collins, he's not even fucking real. And I'm sorry, but whichever cunt's cleaning up a wet sponge and a bucket at Altrincham shouldn't be playing in the Super League. End of rant. Up the fucking opposition here.
So safe to say that Mac isn't a Sloths fan. And too many questionable names in the outside world. A couple of things I will take kind of on that. I'm a huge, you can't really call Del Piero a myth. Absolutely fantastic player in real life. Marcel Desailly.
Ryan, sorry, you've just had to say it in real life. Therefore, he's a myth on the game. I'm talking on the game here. In fact, no. When it comes to real life, like Collins and Scally, they are myths. So I don't know. It's a weird parallel universe I live in. take both the blue and red pill.
Just before we do kick off, I do feel like I went in a little bit harsh on Dudley Hill then, just giving my my opinion on what I've seen this season and my experience from the players on the game. But I have got my fingers and toes crossed for Dudley Hill to win this 5-0.
I can imagine, but I think that's not to do with your love for Steve and Dudley Hill. It's more for your playoff chances. So, I mean, you can dress it up all you want, Scott, but I can see where you're going there. And I mean,
there's no.
I think there's every time to have a go in. I mean, there's no issue at all going in on Steve. Steve can take it. You mean? And I think he'd be the first to say that he's underperformed this season and needs to really look at how he's getting on. And there's maybe some positions he needs to improve. You can't really, considering the starting 11 and including so many myths, as Macca says, Scally, Mill, Guerrero, Collins in that little line of myth there. It'd be interesting to see what if they can bounce back from this. Can I get your predictions?
That's the annoying thing. They'll still win.
Can I get your predictions, gents? That'll be good.
3-2 Dudley.
3-2 to Dudley Hill. Scott Macca.
Desmond
2-2. Alf is joining you on his Desmond prediction, Macca. Mr. Edwards going for a 3-1 win. Mega Horse going for a 2-1 Dudley Hill. Dimble, a lot of people going for a Dudley Hill win. Devils win 1 apiece. And Potato Mourinho thinking
people want a Dudley win, just like they wanted to see OJ Simpson see justice. Do you know what I mean?
So let's kick this one off. And it looks like David Collins is having a sprightly start, getting a shot in there. Interesting to see if that continues.
I'm being devastated. If Sloths win this game, we are renaming David Collins Michael Barrymore.
28 minutes gone, and it looks like Roberto and Scally and Salahamovic are in control of this one. I thought I saw a penalty claim there. Del Piero having a dip, Milled involved, but
wow! Fucking get in there! I hope it's a leg break.
Let's not look at the condition. We don't want to keep that as
you've got William Gallas. That's your choice.
Have we seen Rob in the chat? I think we have seen him, but so I'll kind of hang fire a little bit.
Rob's telling us broken. He might not be able to
play Scally at left wing back. You fucking nonce.
Let's have a think about it, and I'm just trying to work out
I think the only option is you put Gallas there, or you move Del Piero back, or Totti and put London in.
Yeah, in all seriousness, that's probably what I'd do.
Or Sand. Well, he's putting Gallas there, so we'll listen to the boss. And Gallas is going at left wing back. Whether he'll get as many assists as Roberto remains to be seen. So let's just continue to half time before we start doing any deep dive analysis. I think that's a huge thing. Oh, and that is huge. Hokan Mills.
File this under things you love to see.
Yeah, I'm going to give Scott an option. Rob an option here. Would he want to drag one of his AMCs back to midfield and put a forward arrow on? I think that's what the fair thing to do. I'll leave it as it is.
Guerrero's played a fair bit in centre midfield, and I think that would be the thing.
Sorry, Scott, repeat that, mate.
Just Guerrero's been playing centre midfield a fair bit. I think that would be the right thing to do, but again, it's on Rob.
Guerrero back. Rob, just follow that up with whoever you want a forward arrow on him and that. You potentially do that or not.
Why not put Jonathan Wilkes in midfield? Apparently the cunt can do everything.
And we get we're not at half time. David Collins, a penalty. Oh no!
No!
What is going on?
Right, has half time been?
No.
It's not. Oh, it's half time.
I don't think so.
Right. So that little splurick, it got to 51 minutes, and we have had a Del Piero penalty. So if you look at the stats, it's been all Sloths. So as much as you two might be getting a bit giddy about the red card and the injury, Sloths been in control of this game and now have the lead. Definitely the better team there. Action zones relatively level, including possession. So a quick look at how things have gone down. Mill, dangerous two-footed, poorly timed challenge on Gallardo. Roberto, nothing to suggest what the injury is there. And it looks like Totti knocked to the floor by Dalmat. Centre midfielder Dalmat back there in the defensive in the 18-yard box and knocking Totti to the ground, and Del Piero putting away the shot. That's one thing Del Piero definitely can do on the game. If you I know it's a tough one, this, Scott, considering all the permutations in charge, but try and put yourself in Rob's
No, look,
shoes.
being completely professional and just toning down Macca's rant a little bit, Rob needs a massive amount of credit for what he's done with his squad and myths this season. Don't underestimate how important that Zeriberto injury is. I mean, he's only on 60. It doesn't look like it'll be too long. But, the next the next 2.5 games are huge. They've dominated the game. They deserve to be in front. Really unfortunate that they're down to 10 men and that Zeriberto's injured. Rob will be fingers crossed praying that it's only a few days. Everybody else will be hoping it's a few weeks. But they've completely outplayed Dudley Hill. And I think Macca's comment about Dudley Hill's system and formation not being right is coming through.
Yeah, and I've just comment on Mr. Edwards saying that lack of credit being given to Rob. I think Rob's well aware. We've spent a lot of weeks giving him credit and praise. We know how much of a job he's done this season, whether it be with as what Macca's playing a team of myths or not. They are up there and have had a great season, and at this point are definitely favourites for that top 6. As we look across the board, I don't think Rob's mentioned that he wants to still at half time looking at those. Player fees. I think the two that you stand out.
I was going to say, right, about just one more thing on Dudley Hill. The fact that I think Steve's compiled like a Galactico type squad. With all due respect to Ian Edwards, this has got a little bit of B-Tech about it, and a squad of absolute superstars that just can't seem to gel. And for all my bashing of Sloths and this, that, and the other, as I've just said in the chat, Rob's done an absolutely fantastic job, right? You pick players based on their attributes, based on the value add to the game, whatever you might want to do. His team has been brilliant this year. They've pumped people home and away. They're up there. They're still in with a shout. A couple of bad games run a form or not. They're still there and thereabouts. And you know what? It would not surprise me for this team of fucking banded brothers, whatever you want to call them, to hold on and nick this game 1-0.
Fair enough. I think you'll need Steve will need Ronaldo and Crespo to be a bit more involved in the game and get some shots away if he is going to get back into this. Not the best performance across the board for Dudley Hill, and not what he wanted to see. I think he may be regretting putting Gallardo in that second midfielder rather than Ronaldo. And then he's left people like Nicotoni out. He's left Matt Viduka out, and also what do you call it? And Elkas rotting in the reserves there. Gallardo is coming off at half time, and we're going to see Nick Barmby come on. Interesting one. Maybe not. He had a good time.
Nick fucking Barmby. We're not 3-1 up against Germany here.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? He did all right in the reserves at the start of the season. Even the reserve farm's tailed off here. So it'll be interesting to see if he can make a difference.
Dudley needs to get the ball to them front too. Otherwise, Sloths will hang on.
Yeah. Let's kick off the second half and see what happens here. 5 minutes in, looks like both teams, Crespo heading wide, but I see David Collins involved a lot. But there is a goal. Edgar Davids gets his first goal for Dudley Hill. Still half an hour to go. It does look like Dudley Hill is starting to get a little bit of control here. And Crespo must score and does score 2-1 to Dudley Hill. This has not looked pretty for Spartak Sloths. A bit of a turnaround here. 20 minutes to go. Nick Barmby. Oh my God, Nick Barmby just scored. And with 5 minutes to go, that could be all she wrote. Penalty. Crespo puts it away. And obviously that Hockham Milled red card. I know Steve put on chat a few weeks ago. Oh, it's still going here. 90 minutes gone. Will we get another? No, we don't. Steve put on chat a few weeks ago, I remember saying that a red card doesn't always help the opposition. Well, tonight it definitely did. That first half was all Sloths. Second half, got to say, was all Dudley Hill. And it's gone 4-1. And a really, really solid second half performance, even albeit against 10 men. Not really reflecting the action zones, but let's have a look at how the goals went in. Still first half one. It's a corner by Carlos, and Edgar Davids getting up for it, the former Barnet boss. Roberto Carlos again involved, picking up the loose ball and getting the ball to Crespo, who scored. Nick Barmby, looked like the Nick Barmby show here. Roberto Carlos near post. It looks like this game might have been the Roberto Carlos show. Neil Scally sent Nick Barmby to the floor at hard tackle, and Crespo puts the penalty. So, do Dudley Hill deserve some credit? Does Roberto Carlos deserve some credit for his 3 assists, or is that all down to the red card Maka?
Red card.
Are you going to add anything else there, or are you just going to stonewall?
No, so I'm going full Roy Keane there. I mean, Nick Barmby shouldn't be in fucking Super League, should he? I mean, the one thing I will shout out actually is the fact that Steve's getting a nice little return from Crespo, which not many people have been able to do on either home save or Super League save. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, the red card has definitely changed things. And I think, for me, it obviously speaks volumes that the way Steve likes to play football is quite expansive and quite attacking or whatever, particularly when he's at home. Remember last week I sucker punched him in the absolute death of the game, but he was the better team throughout. And I think once Spartak had a man sent off today, again, it showed that with that extra space on the pitch that he can absolutely exploit that space. But it leaves me wondering. He's obviously not far off, Steve, in terms of, turning the tide, getting regular results, getting regular goals. But does he need teams short of confidence? Does he need teams, with slightly different tactics? Does he need teams with 10 men or whatever? Do you know what I mean? Just something for Steve to think about, I would say.
And it's something I will say, and it's very rare that you'll get me talking about transfers in the season before they're kind of allowed again, really. But I often say with transfers, it's very rare that you want to give away a decent player to get 2 okay players in. But I'm saying that Steve might be worth getting rid of one of his main men to get 2 solid players in, kind of in the midfield. It's looking at attacking midfielders especially, because I don't think that the answer is Gerard or Dalmat, or even Gigu. So if he could get 2 really good first teamers in, but he might have to lose a marquee man, he's got plenty of choices up front. It's just something to think about maybe for Steve next season. And another position he's lacking is goalkeeper, unless he's going to go with Kiotis from next season. Mazzantini isn't getting any younger, although he's had a good game this evening. Got same question really, all down to the red card and how much of an impact is that really put the pressure on Rob there?
I think the red cards clearly had an impact. If it had been 11 against 11, it'd have probably been a tight second half. But just going back to Dudley Hill for 10 seconds, we sort of spoke about him having 4 or 5 Galacticos and then the rest a bit meh. Then it's the big players, Carlos, Davids, Tomasi, Ronaldo and Crespo who have won that game, who've had their good ratings and sort of carried the rest, if you like. So just to echo what you sort of said. In terms of Sloths, the Collins up front experiment's clearly not worked. Guerrero has had to switch position in games, which has not been great. Scally's attempted a shitload of tackles. The red cards had a massive impact. Their key creative player has got off injured, and that could have much bigger implications than this result. But it also doesn't help Rob's goal difference, which it could well come down to that it is so tight with teams below winning tonight, still 3rd, 4th, 6th and 7th or whatever it is still to play, or top of the league still to play. It could well come down to goal difference. It's that tight.
Yeah, that is definitely something that teams will be looking at nowadays. And
for me personally, Ryan, I petitioned to rename Spartak Sloths Apollo 13 if they miss out on the playoffs, given the fucking crest of the wave they rode, and now they potentially might miss out.
Okay, let's get that petition submitted, and then we'll see what happens. I think there's a lot riding on this game. Obviously, Locomotive, I think, will pretty much nail down their position at the top of the league, considering Devils didn't win. It'll also probably nail down the top 2 position for them as well, which will be absolutely huge. And for Haggis, it's win or bust this season, so there's a lot going on here. I'm conscious you both might want to have a little bit to say on Haggis. Very unfortunate for Nedved to miss out after 2 goals last time out. He looks like he's getting a bit of form. Vieira back from suspension, but only on the bench. Has Ian lost his mind there? He just wants me to double check he's on attacking, which he is. I did that quickly there, so hopefully nobody saw anything else.
Everybody's just paused it and screenshotted it, but don't worry about it.
I didn't know you can do that. I generally just submit tactics for the whole team, so that's an eye opener.
What do you mean?
As in, so I don't have my like home Fulchester team or whatever on a save with my exact squad. So whenever I submit a team, I don't have free kick takers and whatever else. I just let the computer default.
Ian sends me a list and I've got to put them in each week. It's soul destroying.
Oh shit! Can we do that?
I mean, no, please don't, because the game selects the best set piece taker.
Well, yeah, that was my logic.
But yeah, Ian is one of the few people in the league who send in set piece takers. Ian's the only person in the league who sends in reserve set piece takers, which infuriates me. But I'll get over it. Let's talk about the brave part. Scott, do you want to talk us through this lineup potentially and the omission of Patrick Vieira?
Yeah, couple of things of note, and I sent in a little message earlier just to let him know. Catania came in and scored last week. He's still dog shit. He's got Donovan. He's got Sahar. For me, better options. Baggio's about 150 years old. May well go on and get a brace tonight, and he'll thank me for slagging him, but I don't think he should be in there. Vieira has not been at his best, but he's still averaging 7.65 or whatever it is. He should definitely be in there. But having said that, Haggis are in good form. They're picking up a little bit of momentum. And he knows what he's doing. That's just my opinion. Vieira should be in. Catania and Baggio not. Apart from that, yeah.
Anything to add to that, Macca, before I go across the road to locomotive?
Not too much. I think they're probably a bit heavy in DMC. Light on forwards. Like, don't get me wrong, the Saviola for Larson trade or whatever we did, I thought was far more beneficial for me. And I think as much as the league raised an eyebrow at the time, they've obviously come to see the light. I still think Haggis have got a far better squad than the league position shows. Again, I think this might be more of a formational thing rather than a personnel thing.
Brozek, Sahar, and I can't remember who the other one was, sat on the bench in Catania and Baggio in the 11. Not for me.
Not for you. Macca, do you want to continue with your analysis? This time looking at the double pivot of Boston. New formation for him. I think it's a different formation. He definitely submitted a different file, so it's definitely got a slight change in there, but I didn't look into what it was. Anyone that you want to pick out on apart from the obvious is Ricardinho?
Well, Ricardinho's obviously absolute world. He tried to get him. I think Greavesy realised that he was a decent player. But for me, you look at the goals against column in the league, and I believe myself and Boston are one of the lowest. And you look at Clompe, Cannavaro, Barthez, shielded by Petit and Decor, that, quite formidable. Allowing Amoroso, Inzaghi, Deisler to run riot, decent. Pancaro, Contra, decent. I mean, he's got a very well balanced squad. And for me, at the start of the season, I'll be honest with you, I thought his team and his squad was garbage, but he's done some very, very, very good work in the transfer market up to this point. He's made his team stronger. He's made them a bit more shithousery. Got some fantastic results coming up, over the last few weeks and whatever else, and really solidified his place as top person in the league. And as I keep saying on all these Zoom chats, smoke up his ass or not, I genuinely believe to get the level of tune out of his squad that he's got is unbelievable.
Yeah, I think a lot of managers have touched on it all season long. He seems to be shooting well above, and it's that the sum is what's the thing? The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Definitely, big player from this season has been Amoroso, absolutely huge. Ricardinho I've mentioned. And it's all been about Fabian Barthez in defence. In that, so he's been probably the standout goalkeeper in one of, as you kind of suggested, the Locomotive and yourselves in the defences of the league. Let's proceed to the match. Have we got any predictions in the chat? And Mac, have you got a prediction for this one, mate?
Personally, I'd love a 2-0 Boston win, but I suspect this might be a score draw.
Score draw. Scott, what are you thinking, mate?
I think it's going to be tight. Boston are always in tight games. They don't concede a lot of goals. I still think something inside me says Haggis might nick it, just to keep it interesting, to stay in the mix. Tight game, maybe 2-1 Haggis. Probably
2-1.
Baggio and Tanya to score.
So Steve Wright saying ball draw, Jens saying 0-0, Dimble 1-1, Alf thinking Haggis just about grab it, Devil saying 2-1. It's a lot of people going low scoring. Mega Heart and Mr. Edwards going for a 1-0 away win. Potato Mourinho 2-1. 5 feet is picking out Larson and a 2-1 home win. So let's kick this one off and see if Haggis can keep themselves in the mix. Locomotive seeing if they can nail down a top 2 spot. Looks like Haggis started well, but Locomotive come right back into it. And Mendieta having to go from long range. Ricardinho getting on the end of a contra cross. Both sides and both I looked at it, but time is going pretty quick.
Oh, big. That's big.
That is big. I've seen Greavesy about earlier tonight. I'm not too sure if he's still messaging. If Greavesy could give us a bit of instruction, pretty sharpish. What would you do in this situation, Scott?
I would leave it.
You would leave it, Macca?
I'd probably drop Sebi Dysler back to midfield.
Would you go asymmetrical with Ambrosini still staying?
Yeah, I'd go 2-4-1-1-1.
But would you put a line or would you keep Ambrosini to the left?
No, actually, no. I'd keep him to the left. I feel like the game would default to 2-4-1-2 anyway.
I would move a DMC forward rather than an AMC back. Personal preference, but I don't know whether Greaves is about.
I've seen him. He's definitely about. He's put boo not even 10 minutes ago. So unless he's gone for something. Lines on DMCs. What Mr. Chairman suggesting. Evening, Martin. Hope you're well. Nice to see that the internet is back up.
Yeah, that's what I would personally do as well. Leave it as it is and move the DMCs.
Well, Greavesy has returned from his wherever he's doing, and he's
as he is.
Greavesy dropped Seb back to centre, keep Amoroso as is. So I'm going to go with this. I think this is what I'd do as well, if I'm being honest. So I think it's arrow on Seb. Yeah, he's kept the arrow on Seb. Yeah, brilliant. Right, better late than never. Let's continue with this first half. Locomotive back against the wall. They give Haggis a chance here. Just knowing Haggis, it'll be them to even it up. But there's the man that you praised so wholeheartedly before the game, Scott. Catania getting the goal. It's been a relatively quiet first half, but Haggis having slightly the better of it, as you'd expect, with Locomotive down to 10. Just the 2 shots on target and putting one up in the back of the net. Looking at this, I think Haggis slightly deserved it in terms of possession and action zones. Have a quick look at the red card, and it was Ricardinho kicking out at Rosicky, potentially a little bit harsh depending on the situation, but you shouldn't react in these situations, should you? And it's a Candelar corner, and Catania, the big lad himself, winning the aerial challenge against Tieme Colompe, who's not been. Am I right in thinking he's not been a first choice for Boston this season? It's been Lewiston. I might be wrong there. But anyway, let's have a look at Locomotive Boston. Got. What do you think of this?
Yeah, I think it's another big game that a red card's going to unfortunately have a big impact. It was tight. Haggis didn't create a massive amount up until the red card. I can only see Haggis dominating from here. I mean, Boston in terms of ratings have done okay defensively. A couple of players with some plenty of tackles and whatever, but they've not got the ball forward, and I think that's just going to sort of be continued in the second half.
Yeah, Greavesy isn't changing it. He's saying the referee's a wanker. Let's have a see who's refereeing. It's Brad.
Is he wrong though? Brad McKay. Oh yeah, all right. Yeah, that's the typical fucking Aussie name, isn't it? All right.
Brad McKay, refereeing this one. No affiliation with the Hunters, but that's what Mr. McKay's doing. I'm going to give. How long do I give Ian? If we decided how long give him for half-time subs, I obviously can't wait the full hour that he sometimes waits to get his substitutions in. But give him a couple of minutes maybe. Maka, solid first half performance, or not good enough considering the circumstances?
Well, it's same old Haggis, isn't it? Just nothing. Just somehow exploiting the unfortunate, situation of others. Kind of like, honestly, the way I've described Haggis is giving it large from the same set of people who capitalised from the fall of the Berlin Wall and all the Russian material. A bit like Lord of War with Nicolas Cage. That's Haggis Hunters to a T.
Well, that kind of team would be the one which bring Patrick Vieira on attacking midfield with a forward arrow. This is unbelievable stuff. Mr. Potato Mourinho saying Mendieta to Cam, that might be an option in next season's Super League, but at the moment, it's literally a like-for-like half-time, so Vieira will be attacking midfield. Maka, is that something that you'd go with?
Is it something I'd go with?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think Mendieta's the better going forward player than Vieira, personally. But what can they do? I mean, you don't want to mess about with your rules too much. I mean, they're still taking the piss by all these extra.
I think for me, he's just trying to hold on, isn't it? He's just putting. He just wants to be able to defend from the front. He's trying to hold on to a 1-0.
Last week he put Nedved on as a striker. Everyone questioned that, and he got the goal. This week he's bringing Vieira on as a second midfielder. Now, guaranteed. I mean, I think Vieira's probably still got better attacking midfielder stats than Bobby Baggio does at 35 years old. So we kick off.
Honestly, that fucking face group will be the death of this Super League with shit like this.
Yes, Pipo Inzaghi. It's interesting that these two play Colcom's supporting the league leaders when he obviously got a little bit of nervous about the Haggis, and there is Henrik Larsson with 15 minutes to go, now down to 5 minutes to go, and the Haggis boys, can they hold on? 90 minutes gone.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Oh yes. Woohoo!
And do you know what? I mean, Locomotive Boston being dogged and tough to beat like they have been all season, and they've got an equaliser in the last minute.
To be honest, they've been the better team. They deserve a point, don't they? Let's be honest. What a ridiculous.
So this is right. So I'm gonna have to come out with it now, right? Obviously, Ian, Rocks, Tato, a lot of time for them boys. Really get on with them. But with all due respect, this season has arguably been the most underwhelming season from any Super League team ever. Like the amount of fucking fanfare about transfers, the amount of money spent, and all that kind of stuff. With all due respect, like I'm sorry, I expected better. I thought these boys would walk the league with this team, and they've underwhelmed. They really have. Like, I don't mean to be horrible or twist the knife or whatever. I really don't mean to be a cunt about it. But let's be honest, fucking shit. 9th. Come on.
I would also like to point out that basically Mr. Potato Mourinho, who we all know and love, obviously media manager at Haggis, put in Ian we trust, and then 2 seconds later, message retracted. Absolutely loved it.
What did the message say?
It said, "In Ian we trust." So obviously we trust Ian, but not that much. Steve Wright saying, "Gee, this black border on my arse." Proper Boston from Rudder. Martin saying, "Is that a cue for Boston?" I would suggest it probably. Agent people, Inzaghi getting the goal, as Hodgie said, and a quick look down here. And it's kind of points that Steve Wright saying them are the kind of results that win titles. Scott, do you want to talk about Boston or Haggis?
Yeah, I'm easy. Whatever you want, mate. The best thing is that Ian's Wi-Fi is that shit. He won't even know the result yet. He's probably just seen Tato's message. Look, I'll talk about Boston. I think Steve Wright's hit the nail on the head. That is the result and sort of performance that wins titles. I was going to say I don't think Greaves had enough credit this season, but I think he has. I think teams have realised after sort of probably 10 games that this is a side that are dogged, that they don't lose very many games. They're hard to beat, and Greaves has assembled a squad of players that he has got ticking. and they just keep grinding out point after point after point. I fully deserve the cue, so well done, Greaves.
Yeah, I'm not sure they've got a queue. I think they will have a queue. I think it'd be tough for them to be caught. Macca, Haggis have been the better side, but they haven't won now.
Have they? Have they? No, seriously, right. Time to go Roy Keane here. Have they been the better side? At home against 10 men, you can't put them away.
Yeah, similar stats in terms of
No,
shots.
sorry, not good enough. Not good enough.
100% agree. Those stats second half was predominantly Boston. Haggis should have dominated that second half for me.
Yeah, should have.
Do you know what? I feel Haggis. You know what I mean? I go through this spell every single season, right? As everybody knows, where I try and overcomplicate it and outthink everybody and this, that, and the other. I genuinely think the triumvirate of Haggis are going through the same thing. Lads, do you know what? Go back, keep it simple. Get the fucking ball to some forwards and get them to score goals.
It's the issue that they're not having
forwards. You've got such a solid base to build on. No, but I'm sorry, we can't use that argument about not having the forward players. When very early tonight, I slagged off a team, I think it was Burn, saying, they're too defensive, they've not got much going forward, but they're romps it. So why is it not the same crack?
I think they've got players on the bench, Rozek, Donovan, who's done well, and Sahar. 3 players who, for me, should be in the matchday squad. And I know Katana's scored, but Donovan came into a little bit of form and then missed out. I think they've got better options than what they played. I think they realised towards the end of the transfer market, shit, we've left ourselves a little bit tight up here, but we're going to be so hard to beat that we'll do okay, and it's just not materialised.
Is it beyond the realms of fantasy that they have a sniff around Shevchenko, considering Alf wants to get rid of him? Do you know what I mean?
Alf loves the DMC, and Haggis have got lots and lots. I would say that if Ian wanted Shevchenko, then he would be in the driving seat to get him, knowing Alf's preference.
Right, gents, we could talk about this all night. I want to point out that the Devils boss has put on. Wait, hang on. Top of the table, Greavesy draws with 9th Haggis, and the results win titles. Secondly, the Devils, they draw with 8th and then get called a shambles. And he's claiming once again that there's a bit of media bias. And I think did he not see the red card in that game? Though? I mean,
yeah, I think it's all about context. I feel. Let's be honest. You were at home. Ultimately you're in a poor run of form. But it was a result that you could have potentially got yourself a cue tonight, and I don't think you did enough. Whereas Greavesy was down to 10 men against a side that are hunting for the playoffs in a little bit of form, and they've shithoused a point rather than losing. Whereas I think they've gained a point and you've lost 2. That's my opinion.
Do you know? I'll shout it out, Fifey. You're deciding which bottle bin your bottles go in. Greaves is recycling them. Do you know what I mean? Sort it
out. Mr. Campbell being gracious in his result there, saying well done on the point, Greavesy. Thought there was a little bit of through gritted teeth. The next game up is Bostock Stanley, and it's Scott's Bostock Stanley go unchanged as they travel to Haggis. Easy decision, Scott?
Yeah, performance of the season last time out, albeit aided by an out of sorts Churchtown side that had a man sent off first half, but we capitalised. Our big players came to the party. Zidane, Beckham, Lizarazu, Vieira, Smith, all with great performances. I think I've got my best 11 players on the pitch. And yeah, we're unbeaten in 5. We've not been exhilarating, but we've got points on the board when it mattered. Tonight's result will not change. Well, it won't write us off or get us in the playoffs for certain. We've got 2 home games to come after this. But, we don't want to lose tonight at all.
Understand that.
Hools as well. Gazelle got a point and still kept themselves in the mix.
Yeah, they're all big games left, and you've got.
Like I said earlier on when we referenced a couple of the teams, you want the points on the board as early as possible. We've picked the team that we think is best to win the game.
Do you know what, Scott? I think I've looking at your fixtures just then. I think I've got a reliance on you here. I reckon I need you to beat Hools next week for me to qualify.
Last game I play Hools.
Yeah. After a bad run, Macca, though, we're looking at Astor here.
Yeah, I'll probably need you to get me a result, you know.
After a bad run, Astor are now unbeaten in 3. They started scoring goals, which is something they relatively lacked with all season. He's kind of stuck with a formation. Players like Rui Costa, Del Vecchio in good form. I mean, they're at home tonight, and I think Alf will fancy himself, especially after a point against the Devils last week. What do you make of this lineup, and what do you make of Astor's chances? Hello?
Sorry, is that to me or Scott?
To you, Macca. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, no worries. Do you know what? In a way, I don't know. I feel a bit for Alf because obviously he's got a preferred kind of player in mind, and one that fits a typical model. But I think with the Super League, given that so many people rotate formations or variations of formations so often, it's hard to go with the tried and trusted. So I think particularly this season, Alf's had to adapt a lot more than he normally would, mix it up a lot more than he normally would. So I don't see any harm in going back to just actually, no, I'll try my methodology, my philosophy, and go from there like he is doing the last couple of games. Obviously, it's reaping dividends. So I think the only thing Alf's going to have this season, personally, I think he'll just have a few sort of regrets about not trying this sooner and maybe trying to outfox everybody rather than pick a formation that outfoxes everybody else. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, other than that, solid defensive. Can't imagine them losing to. Well, I don't know. They're away at Bostock. It's such a tough game to call. But they won't be rolled over. It's not going to be like a 6-2 or some of the other nonsense results we've seen this season.
Yeah,
I do suspect Bostock with the home factor will probably edge the game.
We're away.
Oh, you're away. Sorry.
Yeah,
As we've gathered on previous Zoom chats, I struggle with the whole home and away thing apparently.
And that is a ghost game, which
Shit.
Oh, that happened to me last week. Unfortunately, I didn't have to go through the tension because the game crashed.
Yeah. It's not too much of an issue though, because it's obviously it's just one game at the end of the relative end of the stream here. So let's talk quickly, Scott, about Hodgie's Leathersford side, and they're in obviously great form at the minute. Is that basically unbeaten in 6, 5 wins, 2 strikers in form, and obviously not changing too much in the lineup. I think he's maybe unchanged. All positive at the moment for Hodgie.
Yeah, definitely. I think you talk midway through the season or sort of 2/3 into the season about the league starting to take shape, and there's always a team that goes on a run. This year it's been Leathersford. Credit to them, they're in great form. Hodgie's not really had to do a lot. I think the packs come out and he just submits the same team unless he's got injuries or suspensions. And it's working. Montella and Torres have been deadly together. They've not conceded a great amount of goals in the last few games, apart from, I think, Burn a few weeks ago, maybe, even though they still won that game. So, yeah, I think at the minute it's been pretty easy for Hodgie to pick his team and just keep going. When you're scoring goals and you're winning games, you just roll.
I tried to highlight that then. They're basically very much the main striker all season, and they've not struggled with goals, let's be fair to them. But the main striker all season's been Morientes up until that Northern Burn game where they went with Montella and Torres after 2 defeats on the bounce without scoring a goal. And that has changed their season from being in and around the playoffs to basically a win tonight, and they're pretty much qualified. But as a quick look at the progress there, you can see that they have been on the rise really for a while. But it was really at week 17 they just started charging their charge up the table, and now in third with 3 games to go. But let's have a look at their opposition tonight, and it's a team that doesn't really perform away from home. Fulchester 13th in the table away from home. We're going to go with Scholes in for Saviola. Michael's short on time. This formation been all right for you, Maka?
Yeah, it's been a little bit different. I think whilst it looks very similar to what I often play, I think the change in certain player instructions has probably helped a little bit. Obviously, I did have that bit of a wobble after topping the table. I then just couldn't buy a result for the next 4 or 5 weeks. But for me, it's a case of always trying to put out your strongest 11. Everybody knows in the league that my right-hand side's a bit weak. I've got a few injuries, to Valgarin and whatever else. So I'm doing what I can. I still think this team might have enough firepower to cause Hodgie problems, potentially. My only worry is, do Yepes, Bijkan and Litos have enough to stop Montella, Chunsu and Torres? Probably not. So I do suspect Hodgie. I think I've been saying 2-0 all day, but I'll probably opt for a 3-1 now, actually. I just can't see me winning this at all.
Yeah, you back the opposite team in every game, so your kind of predictions when it gets to you involve your own team.
Quite the windy, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so Roman Vasilyuk obviously on a bit of form recently. After a bit of a poor start, he obviously got an 8 and a 10 in the last couple of games, 2 goals against Northern Burn. Michael Owen got off the mark as well, but not getting a starting position. Giggs, who had a great start to the season, and he's still getting ratings, but not really as many assists, etc. I think he might have got an assist last time out, so I don't really want to. Yeah, he got man of the match last time out, so maybe unfounded criticism there. For me, the only criticism I can kind of go is basically that you should have had this nailed down a few weeks ago, Mark. And after a couple of, 3 games about to win there, is really.
Yeah, do you know what? The away form's been frustrating. I'm not going to lie about that. It's been very, very frustrating because I like having a single philosophy for sort of all games, whatever. And obviously, I need to adapt better to the away game thing. But yeah, I still think that tactically, I probably should have had enough to have got like 40, 41 points by now. But c'est la vie, makes it interesting. See what happens.
Yeah. So Wood has requested that we kind of stop with the no apologies but and no disrespect but, and I think we had a little conversation in the chat that we should be. We're all friends, so we can be a little bit harsher with each other. So let's try and do a little bit of that. I would suggest, Macca, that tonight your second favourites, given your away form. What's your prediction on this one, mate? You said 2-0 Leddersford.
Do you know what? I think they'll score 3. They've been in absurd form scoring goals, so I think they will score 3 being at home. But I think I might nick a goal early on, so I'll probably go. I'll even try and name scorers. Montella 2, Torres 1, and Vasilyuk 1 for Fulch. So that'll be 3-1 Leddersford.
Scott?
I think given Max away form, I think Valhalloran is a big loss. It's been colossal, and Leddersford are like a steam train. Home win. I will also go 3-1. I think Leachams will score.
So, maybe surprisingly, Devils and Alfridge going for a 2-3 Fulchester win. Wood is going for a Leddersford win with clean sheet. C. Wright win 3-1. Jens going 0-0. I can't see a 0-0, but who knows? Back 3 for Leddersford will cover everywhere. So let's kick this one off and see what happens. Dimble going 2-1 to Fulchester. A couple of people fancying you, Macca. And well, Roman Vasilyuk's got that early goal that you suggested he might. So let's see if Leddersford go on and get 3. Looks like both teams are having chances. At least on Chunsu and Torres, I saw with efforts for Leddersford. Only 15 minutes gone. There's a lot of action here. A lot of Leddersford action as well, but they've not got a goal as yet. Montella hitting it high and wide. Percy and Torres involved again. Chunsu blasting the ball at the goal. It looks like Buffon and the defence kind of held out against a little bit of an onslaught at the second half of that first period. But a lot off target as well. So 6 shots from Leddersfield, only 2 on target. 2 and 2 for Fulchester and Vasilyuk getting the early goal. You're one of those. You're in a nervous mode now, Macca. So a quick look at that goal. It's Scholes coming in from after an injury, getting up, getting the ball across, and Vasilyuk, who is the big man up top, who's got the goal.
Do you know what? Right, that's pleasantly surprised me because if you look at the stats, I don't really deserve to have a foothold in the game or whatever. Obviously, Veron's the standout. Forward players haven't done much. So, I mean, this reeks of trying to nick a result away from home. I will say no more on the matter, but there's not much else I can do there, really, is there?
Yeah.
I will bring Michael Owen on for Louis O.
I was going to say that he's at Louis on the 6th, as is Baruch Okan. You've not got McManaman on the bench, but
no, Michael Owen for Louis O.
Michael Owen for Louis O. That worked out last time you made a substitution and brought Michael Owen on. A quick look at Ledesford. It's not been their best performance, although based on the match stats, you'd say they were still probably slightly in charge of this game.
Yeah, I think once they got over the initial shock of conceding first minute, they sort of took control. Max sort of said it looks like they're trying to hold on and nick a point away from home. But to be honest, at this stage of the season, points on the board are much more important than performances. So obviously there's a big 45 minutes to go yet. I think Huddersfield will create chances. Let's see whether Fulchester can hold on or even get a second.
No, I still fancy Ledesford here. They look too strong for us. I mean, the stats don't scream much there, but they've got better forwards and they're at home, so it's a minimum of 2-1, I think.
You can always tell the standard of the game when there's people chatting about dead footballers in the chat rather than commenting on the game. Hodges going same as Macca at this point would take a draw. Scholes getting the assist. Breezy's pointing out, yeah. Starts as it kind of finished the first half with a lot of yellow, but I'd still say that Fulchester are creating chances. But as soon as I say that, Nando Torres equalises.
I was just going to say if Fulchester can hit the 70-minute mark, then they might hang on. But
yeah, and it's Torres who's put them back in front. He's been the main man this game. But and it's a big but. Marquee man Alessandro Nesta has been sent off with 15 minutes to go-ish. I imagine we're going to see Sorochinsky coming on in the back line. I've just seen that Hodges gone same as at half time, so he's available. So I'm just going to wait for what his kind of
I think he might drop Satsoglu back in and maybe drop a striker to centre midfield.
So that is what he's doing. Pat Satsoglu's centre back. Does he want to drop any strikers to centre midfield? You do get a little bit more say over a red card. Hodgie. Macca calling Buffon a myth. Interesting. I'm going to give Hodgie.
I might as well call the subs rule a myth. Oh, let's just rearrange the whole fucking team because of a red card.
No, because in essence, he's moved Segley to the centre, and if he wants to put a striker there, he's literally put a striker to defend.
Let's go, he says.
Let's go. So, yeah, you can't move positions, Macca, but you can, in essence, move. Yeah, you know.
To be fair, Macca's been consistent all season with red cards and injuries.
Let's be honest, lads. I've lost this game now. I said I'd lose it. Honestly, Buffon is a fucking myth. The amount of games that if he's anything less than a 7, I get absolutely battered. It's a disgrace.
You're against 10 men though, and with 10 minutes.
No, but do you know what though? They're at home, so it kind of nullifies it. You might as well be 10 men if you're away. Like I will lose this game 2-1 now. You might as well put it on very fast. It don't matter. Oh, hang on. No! Why? Oh, you fucking little schoolboy prick.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, well done, Michael. He's 13. You fucking... Why, sorry, why is he taking... I've not given you penalty takers. Oh, for fuck's sake.
I was just going to say the guys involved don't want this on fast, but that added a little bit of drama.
Oh, right. Do you know what?
Oh,
yes.
Oh,
do you know what, though? I word of warning to every manager watching, make sure you select 58 penalty takers.
God. Nino's got a hat trick.
Offside. No. Oh, bullshit.
Drama.
Fucking stay. Who was marking Torres? Was it Yepes?
So
honestly, right. Michael Owen's up for sale. That's a disgrace.
What do you mean, Michael Owen?
No, I'm fucking fuming at that. I'm going to drop off. That's some bullshit.
It's frustrating, Macca. There's no need to drop off. That's relatively. Second half they're down to 10 men, and it's a lot in their area. Have a quick look at the match court second half, and it looks like it's Gepes with the tackle. Torres finds the ball and shoots low and hard. Patsat finds Torres. Then we saw Nesta upending. Sorry, mate.
2 assists for Patsat, I think.
Yeah.
Before he dropped back.
Ekiog was the one who fouled Owen, and Owen obviously the penalty was saved by Hanjog, but rather than missed. So, and then let's look at the Paul Scholes equaliser, which we thought had done it, which like is a palm away from Hanjog, but then Yusuf Hersey in injury time finding Torres to complete his hat trick. Absolutely soul destroying for Maka and the lads.
Hey, look, don't get wrong. Great result for Hodgie. The run he's been on absolutely deserves to win that game and be in the playoffs and arguably get the nice little red PL next to his name. But let's be honest, Gianluigi Buffon's had a fucking mare there, big time. So has Mickey Owen. Scumbags, the pair of them. Both for sale.
Both for sale. Let's see if Maka steals that way at the end of the season. I mean, Buffon not been a bad all season. It's been in the Nando Torres show, Scott, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. Loads of action second half, loads of drama. I think on the balance of it, they probably deserved it. I think they've had 3 times as many chances. It's frustrating when you score last minute. I'd be fuming as well to miss a penalty. Let's be honest, Hanjog Butt would have probably scored, but he saved it. But yeah, I completely understand Mac's frustration when you've got arguably the best keeper on the game and he's throwing in sixes in such big games, and then you've got the Ballon d'Or winner missing penalties and whatever. It's frustrating.
Hodgie will be happy though. I mean, Simeone and Vogel again. They've both been great. Vogel there all season. Simeone since he's come in from Locomotive has been absolutely formidable. Montella having a relatively quiet game, but Torres just turning up. And at 17-year-old, that is definitely he's one for the future as well. We've already gone through the teams for Astor Athletic versus Bostock Stanley. I'm not too sure if we got to some predictions, so I'm going to ask the boys.
Fifey said that Astor would win 25-0.
Did he?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Martin, happy with that you reminded the world that Michael Owen won the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, he's also got 20 penalties on the database, so I don't understand how they fucking miss. Honestly, shit like this annoys me. David Collins didn't even make Accrington's fucking first team ever. Somehow the best player in the world. Michael Owen won the fucking Ballon d'Or the year before this come out. Misses a penalty. All right, yeah, cheers, mate. Bullshit.
Michael Owen has always been one of those who's not really performed in the Super League. You do get sometimes some really good seasons from him on the game in the Premier League, though. I've seen him with 25, 30 plus goals for Liverpool and transfers to the Italian league, etc. Alf going for a Desmond here. Dimble going 2-0 Astor victory. Duggan going for a 3-0 Bostock win here. So it looks like it's wide open. Jens and Steve Wright going for a 2-1 Bostock win. You backing yourself, Scott?
Do you know what? It's always tough to play Astor. You never know what you're going to get when you play his narrow formation. They're in a little bit of form. I think it'll be a tough game. Do you know what? My head says a point might not be a bad result, but given that Hools have won, and I don't know. Am I backing myself? Yeah. I think it'll be tight, 2-1.
Hodgie can only see his own comments, interestingly. It's all going off. No, it's not. It's all joking. I mean, yeah. Anyway. Maka, any predictions on this one? Are you still with us? Or?
No, I don't give a fuck. I hate football.
And with that, we'll kick off. David Seaman saving early on. Zamorano having a shot up for Astor Athletic. Takinardi involved. It's a strange array of players as Alpha. It looks like they're in charge, though. Del Vecchio gets his fifth of the season after 15 minutes. Not what Scott wanted to see. Zidane cracking one wide. Looks like he's involved a lot, though. Vieri, who's not really been the Vieri that Scott would have wanted so far, but that's the Igor Tudor that starts once. He gets the equaliser just before half time, and he just saves one there from Zamorano. Very open game this first half, and it's gone into break 1 apiece. Looking at that, Astor a little bit in charge. I would say from the commentary that Bostock came into it a little bit. 4 on target for Astor versus just the 1 for Bostock says that David Seaman might not be doing his job. Alf won't be too happy about that. The action zones, though, suggest that Bostock had a lot of the ball, and it's a lot of the time in the Astor area. Match report, and it's Shellstop parried by Andre, and Delvecchia puts away the rebound. And it's Elizarazu who seemed to be involved quite a lot, getting a deep cross into the area, and Igor Tudor out jumping Seaman. So Tudor out jumping Seaman suggests we might have a little bit of breezy weather. Alf, is that suggesting it's a shower? Happy with I don't know if you want to talk, Maka, but do you reckon Alf will be happy with his first half performance?
Well, looking at them stats, no. I mean, Zamorano, terrible. Delvecchio, somehow a goal with his, one of his only touches. I don't know. It's just awful. Are we blaming the conditions for this or what? I don't know what's going on there, but that just reeks of a team that hasn't had the ball and is twatting it long or something. I can't articulate what's going on there correctly. Like, they've barely touched the ball.
Yeah, not much touches from these front players. Rui Costa on 7 attempted passes, Zamorano 2, Delvecchio 2. It's not free flowing football from Astor. They did get the early goal though through Delvecchio. Some key defensive work from Sammy Hippie, who got a 9 last time out, which Alf will be happy with. If Alpha and Alpha just confirmed that he's making no changes at half time, I think he'll be interested to see. I think he'll be going for a win tonight. Scott, not the players you wanted to really be taking control of the game, Tudor and Lizarazu.
Tudor and Lizarazu have been two of my better players all season. I think we've had a little bit more of the ball than Astor. Not created a great amount of clear-cut chances, but we're still in it, which is where we want to be. I'm going to bring on Eric Backer for Joe Cole, please.
Eric Backer for Joe Cole. Your prerogative. Eric Backer, only second appearance in Super League history for him. Interesting to see what he can do. You need more from your front players.
Probably come on and miss a penalty.
Yeah, I mean, look, Astor's forward players have not been involved a great deal. We hope that continues. It could go either way.
Let's kick off the second half, conscious of the time. And it looks like Shevchenko has had a couple of early chances. Sammy Hippie involved as well. Looks like a lot of Astor actually, but not too far into the second half. And as soon as I say that, Milevsky gets the goal, and it looks like from that moment Bostock have taken charge, and it's their defenders doing the work. I think that's Lasisi who got the third. Looks like it's a real classy defensive performance, and the defenders are going up the pitch as well. Half an hour to go though. Still a lot in this game, or is there? I think that might be curtains there, and it's 10 goals in 2 games with 50 minutes to go.
Do us a favour, Ryan. Just click on league table right now, please.
Bostock are ticking.
Bostock are ticking there, yeah. Are you still there, Macca? But yeah, that's a really comprehensive second half performance from Bostock. It's still going here. Mehmet Shaw put him on wide at 94 minutes gone. Astor had the chances but didn't take them. Second half, David Seaman's continued his poor form, but let's be honest, Bostock have also taken their chances. Goals from Tudor, Milevsky, Lasisi, and Big Shagger himself. You suggest that a lot of the ball was played inside the Astor area. Considering that, let's have a quick look at how the goals went in. It looks like it's a Zidane free kick headed home by Lasisi. So Zidane is involved with it. Lizarazu crossing for Vieri. Eric Backer crossing for Igor Tudor. And yeah, I think that's all of them, isn't it? Over the moon, Scott. Absolutely world-class performance there.
Yeah, delighted. Very similar to last week's second half. Lizarazu's been incredible again. Tudor, like I said, has been one of my best players, along with to be honest, all my defensive midfield players, Lasisi and Maldini, even of late, have been good. Andre's had one poor game, 1-4. That's one of the only ratings he's had below a 7 in 2 seasons of having him. He's been really good, really impressive. He's in incredible form. Vieri's scoring goals. The big players are contributing. long may it continue.
Yeah, that's exactly the kind of form you need to be in at this moment in time. Happy with Zidane getting an 8 as well, after he got a 10 last time out, which is good to see for you guys. Not to kind of skip over the Astor performance, Del Vecchio got that early goal. David Seaman is definitely a lot at fault today with a 3 rating. That's one of the lowest we've seen in the league this season. Conceded 5 of the 6 shots against him. Beyond that, looking across
to be honest, mate, he clearly needs tossing to one side after that performance.
I'm not too sure we'll see much of David Seaman next season. He's only a season 1 player. If you're Arsenal, or if you can get other than beyond that, I don't think we're seeing much in any capacity on Champ. Zamorano also not doing too much with a 5 there as well. Overall not too bad, Mackinac. Considering he can beat 5-1, 7s across the board isn't necessarily.
Yeah, do you know what? If you're on the receiving end of that, you look at it and go, well, do you know what? That's purely my keeper. And you go about replacing the keeper as soon as humanly possible. Generally,
yeah.
Let's be honest. On the balance of play, shots and possession and whatever else, it's not a 5-1 result. So it looks like the keeper's had a howler. Don't get me wrong, Bostock thoroughly deserved to win. No disputing that. But it looks like keeper's been the main problem for Alf this season.
Yeah, he's got a good choice though. He's got Peruzzi, he's got Shea Given, who was the first choice keeper in the Super League last season, Ruggiero, who I think he played a few games for Dragons, so they've definitely got options. Let's have a quick roundup. Starting at the bottom there, I can see that Devils with a 0-0. He's basically they kind of sealed their place and they give Gazelles a real uphill challenge. It looked like Gazelles might nick one at the end, but it wasn't to be. Northern Burn continue their resurgence with another 2-0 home victory. Late action in Yorkshire as Leathersford overcame Fulchester 3-2 with a hat-trick from Nando Torres.
Bullshit.
A last-minute equaliser, I think, in this game as well. Yeah, 90th minute equaliser for Locomotive Boston kind of ended Haggis' hopes of the playoff. A red card affected the game in Sloths as basically they were 1-0 up at half-time. Sloths ended up getting beat 4-1, which has pushed them out of the top 6 by the look of it. Churchtown 2, Hools Vikings 4, Hools back in the winning ways. And just at the end of the night there, Scott will be delighted with a 5-1 victory. Let's have a quick look at what that does to the table. Locomotive have got that famous red queue with 2 games to go. It's come late this season, but there it is. It's absolutely huge. Devils there or thereabouts. I think it would take some kind of miracle, really, if the 5 teams below them didn't make it. Looking at this, mathematically,
I would say the top 3 are in. The top 3 are in. I think it's 5 from the next 3 from the next 5.
3 from the next 5. So you mean Gazelles
Because
need to win both win
they've
games?
got a good goal difference. I think it depends on the fixtures. 3 from 5 for me.
And
who've Haggis got? Who've Haggis got next 2 games?
Haggis are out of it, surely. They need.
No. If I lose my next 2 and they don't, you never know. So they've got. So if they beat Gazelles and Devils, right, and I lose my next 2, they obviously leapfrog Gazelles to 37-34 with the game played, and then depends who Gazelles have got.
Gazelles have got Haggis, obviously, and then they've got Dudley Hill.
Right. Well, so I don't know. That's tight. Fuck. I'm fucked here. I'm telling you now, boys. I'm fucked.
Oh, you've got a home game against Churchtown. Surely you're not saying if you win that, then are you not in? Is it not over?
I don't know.
Are we expecting the teams? Are we expecting the teams around you to get more than 3 points, kind of thing? Are we expecting that basically Sloths are going to get 4? Are they going to get a win and a draw against Northern Burn and Leathersford? Are they going? You think
Hodges? If Hodges qualifies, he's not going to play his fucking reserves to screw me over? No,
absolutely not. The second place is still up for grabs. I think everyone will be playing their full strength team, unless Hodgie loses or fails to win and Devils win and Devils qualify. Hodgie will be playing his first team to try and get top 2, definitely.
Mr. Edwards saying Fulchester players aren't listening to this. Obviously, you're worried that your chat about the team, Mac, might affect their confidence.
No, I mean we've been robbed a lot this season. It's been a fucking disgrace, to be honest. I mean, look at that prime example. Bullshit.
That's an interesting stat. Locomotive Boston 6th in the home league table. That's really interesting. And away from home, I mean, you're going from top to 13th, Mac. It has been a. I mean, your lads don't travel too well.
No, do you know what? It's all them bribes in foreign currency. They don't go down well.
Graham, will you just go back to the away table for me for a second?
Of course, yeah.
Sorry, I'm just looking. I've got Hools and Devils both at home, so I'm just looking how they fare away. Both really well.
Yeah, that's a good point. They're both in the top 6 when it comes to away tables. Quick look at these last couple of fixtures. Bostock versus Devils, both teams in the top 6 at the moment. That's a big game. I think Devils relatively safe in that position, or in the top 6. So it'd be more about securing second place for them or the top 2 finish. Leddersford will definitely see a trip to Dragons as an opportunity to charge on the top 6 now after that victory tonight. Fulchester looking to get back to winning ways and in the more comfortable at home, aren't they? As Mako, as we've just seen from the home and away tables, Gazelles versus Haggis. I think it's a stretch for either of these two clubs, but Gazelles are, in my opinion, I think it's a stretch too far for Haggis. Gazelles with a home victory here and a victory against Dudley Hill give themselves a chance. Hools now in the driving seat at home to Aston next time out and in the playoff positions already. It could be a nothing game against Bostock if they win next week. Locomotive versus Dudley Hill. I mean, is that's Locomotive basically aiming to cement their top spot, and Dudley Hill hoping to kind of get a bit more momentum going into the next season. And then Spartak Sloths need victories, and they'll definitely see a home game against Northern Burn against the as an opportunity to get one. I think it's definitely going to go down to the last day. So we'll have a quick look at those. Anything that stands out for you there, Macca, the last day fixtures?
That away trip to Aston worries me. I don't think Leddersford I think Leddersford will probably put away Sloths. Probably. I think possibly the key game or the biggest game of that fixture is Bostock Hools. There's so much hinges on that for the amount of teams that aren't in that game.
I would say that the biggest game there is Leddersford versus Sloths.
So you think that Sloths might go there needing something? And
yeah, definitely. I think so. Yeah,
it could be. So I mean, there's lots of different permutations, even with 2 games to go. And as you kind of said, you're definitely looking.
I think Haggis versus Gazelles is massive next week because that decides whether either of those go into the last day with a chance. If teams in the 6 win next week and Gazelles and Haggis play out a draw, then it's basically 7th up.
And the Sloths, obviously, they're playing Northern Burn, who aren't in this fight. So, I mean, you'd fancy them at home, but I mean, it's not a kind of nailed on victory, is it? Northern Burn, they've won tonight. Interesting one. I'll just quick flick. We won't have to chat about them too much. I'll just quickly flick through these. Interesting.
Massive loss for Rob. Is that?
Pardon?
Massive loss for Rob.
Yeah. Is he favourite in that game? I don't know. Let's not.
Sure, David Collins will do a fucking job.
Player stats there about remains top. Kieran Dyer, Johan Vogel, Liz Resume. Scott's nice to see him up there. Giggs still maintaining a high rating. Macca for you guys. When it comes to goals and Penza, Collins, Clivert, I don't think there was any additions to goals there, but I think Madeira and Henri both scored tonight, if I'm not wrong. Definitely Van Nistelrooy did. When it comes to assists, obviously Roberto's got that wrapped up, but we saw Roberto Carlos had a few tonight as well. Average ratings, yeah. Right, I think we've kind of seen all we need to see tonight. In-game team of the week, obviously picked players like Torres and Carlos and Lizarazu, which makes sense. Eric Backer off the bench and getting in there. But yeah, gents, you've both been absolutely at great value on comms. Thank you for everyone who's been in the chat, and yeah, cheers, gents.
Yeah, cheers. Good. Been a really enjoyable show. Plenty of action. It's been good.
Good. Massimo,
Cheers.
look
Thanks
at
for
the
causing me
results.
sleepless nights. Appreciate it, lads.
All right. Thanks a lot, everyone, and I shall catch up with you on either Sunday or next week. Cheers, gents.
See you later, guys.